What can I say? What can I say? Yeah. How much can I take? How much can I take? Yeah. Before I go crazy, you don't wanna make me run it up alone all on my own. That's how I do. I've been staying quiet to myself. That's how I move. Never kept me tripping, never sipping on cool. All this potent potion got me higher than the roof. I hustle all day, I'm working I can't slow it down, can't fuck around. No, I'm the one. Now you can't tell me nothing. No, I can't. No, I can't. Keep pushing my luck. Yeah, keep mixing it up. Keep pushing my luck. Keep rolling it up. Yeah, keep rolling it up. Yeah, keep on going up. All day. Right there. All day. Red eyes. Are they listening? Am I too distant? I've been drinking and my head keeps spinning. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. Are they listening or am I too distant? I've been drinking and my head keeps spinning. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. No, no.
What's up, everybody? Hello, and welcome to the latest and newest episode here of our State of the Election podcast, featuring myself and good friend Bob here. Bob, how you doing, buddy?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. It's been exciting. We're getting down to the wire here. The gloves are starting to come off for both sides, so it's getting quite entertaining.
Absolutely, yeah. It's starting to get, as we talked a little bit earlier this week, everybody's desperate attempts are coming out from everybody now. All the crazy shit is going to start happening, but yeah, man. So we got a couple things to cover and talk about that we missed from last week and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in this week. If you guys haven't already, the typical YouTube stuff, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody about the show if you enjoy a good, mostly friendly conversation about politics from kind of two different perspectives and stuff. And so, yeah, with that, man, let's go ahead and get started.
Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it. First on the docket today, we have the Kamala interview. What many had been waiting for. Kamala Harris sat down for the first time last week with CNN, with Tim Walz, to discuss, if you want to call that, talk about her policies and her plans. And this was kind of her opportunity to really make her case to swing voters, to others that are maybe voting for, may not be voting for, about policies, about other things like that. And it was still kind of a nothing burger. For the most part, a lot of repeats, not a lot of details. A lot of things that sound good. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to give these, tax incentives, $25,000 to buy a home. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And none of the kind of like how, where's this money coming from? Have you talked to any economists about the, all these types of things and stuff? So again, it's sounding nice, some of the things, but we're still like so behind on detail and all of these other things. Tim Walz also was confronted with the statements that he had made that were not true about certain things, and his excuse was not the best either. Yeah, it was just kind of messy.
Yeah, I
You're
mean
not this strong innocent. Yeah.
this is supposed to be this is a softball. This is your first interview. You get to
Yeah.
have your emotional support VP sitting right next to you. It's taped. This isn't even live. You know what they're going to ask you. You can do retakes. You have all this time to prepare for this. And we get handed like under a half hour of just absolute bullshit once again. And,
Yes.
and we were talking earlier before the stream started about the Democrats' new campaign strategy of just win. Now it's just win by all means, just win by any cost, just win. Well, okay, that's fine. You could say that, but like, I need people need behind for you to go, okay. What are we just winning for though? Just for the sake of
Right.
winning? It's getting to a point where when it's stuff like that, then it is just like okay, it's just anything just to keep him out, and it's just
Seems
so.
desperate. It seems
Yeah, it seems
oh,
way
it seems,
desperate.
and this is an issue that I think that Democrats have had for years and years and years. Is they're not very organized. They're not very they get a good idea, they go with it, but they don't plan it out. They don't Republicans are
Mhm.
much more well organized, I think, in their planning and their terms of all these types of things.
Sure,
And yeah,
yeah.
like their obvious short term plan was replace Biden with the younger candidate, all these types of things.
Mhm.
And I think it's working now. And I
Well,
think it's worked over the last month, or two,
mm, well,
but
I
I
still
don't
think
think it's
everybody's
going to
still in a
last.
honeymoon phase with her. Like, honestly, I
Right,
really think it is because the more she does open her mouth when she does sort of touch, it's literally just carryover. It's the same stuff that she was doing 4 years ago. It's the same stuff she was doing back when she was attorney general. It's all the same shit. So,
yeah,
like people as excited they are for to have new blood, as they say, it's not really that new. You know what I mean? It's old shit covered is really all it is right now, and it's the Democrat. Like I mean, you look at within the last couple of weeks we had RFK come out in support of Donald Trump, and then we also had Tulsi Gabbard come out in support of Donald Trump. And then the Democrats like answer to that is, oh well, we got Mitt Romney. Like, okay, who gives a shit? And
right,
he's not voting
right,
for like why nobody cares about Mitt, and nobody in any political party, Democrat or Republican, cares about Mitt Romney. He hasn't been relevant in 12 years. And it's just like it is, and it just everything they're doing right now comes off as like a just a desperation attempt to scramble. Because again, like
absolutely.
this interview should have been such an easy softball setup. The lady Dana Dash or Donna, whatever her name is,
Dana
um,
Bush or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, Dana Bush. Yes, there you go. Thank you. I she she pressed a little. She didn't like really press her like she didn't press them hard about anything really. She asked a couple follow ups and pressed a little bit, but again, this was still such an easy interview that she should have nailed. That he should have nailed when he gets asked one question, and and he fucks it up. Like and I can only take this aw shucks my fucking football coach routine for so long before it's like, dude, don't tell me you're misspeaking about your service because you have poor grammar because your wife says so. Like, oh, like it's like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I agree that
For all the dumb
not a
shit
good.
Trump says, it's just like when I hear shit like that, like I know Trump's gonna lie and he's gonna fabricate and everything he does is the
Right.
greatest, the best, and nobody's ever done it like him. I get that. That's gonna be everything he does. But when somebody's just like, he's not doing that though. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing.
Yeah,
But go ahead. I have a whole lot to get into with this because this goes into even the stuff with
yeah,
Arlington and the Gold Star families. It's been a
sweet.
crazy couple weeks.
Yeah, let's get into it. I'm only off camera here for a second. This stream, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is sponsored by weed. Weed is for
Yes,
everybody. Weed is good. But yeah, I'm off stream
it
while
is.
I'm smoking a few hits here. But no, I agree. It was for him that probably was one of the most disappointing parts for me because I
Yeah.
like Tim Walz a lot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was kind of wondering how you would feel about it because you have been a big fan. So, and
I
it comes off disingenuous.
it not just in. I mean, I still believe him for the most part. I just think that's the wrong. At this point, it kind of goes back to what Obama said at the DNC, right? We're human. We're gonna fuck up. We need to admit it, and the people need to understand that. Um, so I think yeah, he should have just said, yeah, I fucked up. I exaggerated like most politicians do. And I shouldn't have. And now the truth is out. I'm not going to do it again. I apologize. You know, like I think that
It's
would have
not the
been
first
better than
time.
just the kind of weird excuse of we all misspeak. Like, okay, you don't misspeak about you know
Well, yeah, I
those.
don't think you
It's just
misspeak
yeah,
about service and DUIs or whatever, and how you and your wife decided to get pregnant. Like, I just like at some point in time, like I can only buy that whole. I can only buy it for
exactly. He
so
was right. He was trying to get that group of people, and
yeah,
get that crowd and stuff. And
yeah.
I mean,
Eh,
that's the other thing too. I think they're with both parties,
mm,
both Trump and Kamala and everybody. Um, I'm kind
eh,
of over nitpicking everything that they say, both sides, because now they're especially Trump too. Like they're just this is this is politics. This is what politicians do. They make these promises that either do or don't happen. They say a
well,
lot of
well,
stuff out of their ass to
yeah. I even know what
sound good and
last week
mhm.
it happened. I don't know if it was the Catholics or the evangelical. They have the Florida has a vote coming up for Title IV or something like that, which is an abortion vote coming in the states, and Trump was because I think it's like a 6 week abortion ban. Trump was asked if he was going to vote on it, and he said he was going to vote on it, but he thought that 6 weeks was too short, and they needed to come up with something, a middle ground. You know what I mean? Like you can't do it like it needs to be longer. You know, and I don't know which of the right crazy groups started getting upset because they're saying he flip flop on abortion thing vote, and it keeps continuing to be a state vote, which is I don't understand why people are getting upset. He's not.
Well,
He
I
keeps
think
saying that he doesn't want to do an abortion ban, but
because
when a state votes, the state votes.
the evangelicals are convinced that they can convince him once he's in office
That's
because they've done it
that's what
before.
yeah, because
They've done
I
it
don't so wacky. You know what I mean? Like when
well,
he
but
comes out
also
and says
too.
something that I think is like a pretty middle position. You know what I mean? Like
But I think
sure.
that's again kind of tactic. He needs to say that right now because he needs the extra votes. But when he's in office, he needs to make his main supporters happy, which are the evangelicals, all these far right wing people and all that. And
Sure.
he does that by yeah. So once he's in office, I think they're going to have a bit more power over him. He's good about that too. He likes to make them happy because it's just more praise for him. And so it very much inflates his ego, and so he enjoys making them happy and
Yeah, but
keeping them
it's still
happy.
weird though because they're saying like it should be a position they agree with though. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be. He's saying sure, like we could, I'll vote for an abortion ban, but at a certain 6 weeks, it needs to be longer. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
you
yeah,
can't
I
have
think
one after,
most
some whatever other set timeline, but not, not literal, just a month, and then if you don't realize it's too late, it's too bad for you. But yeah, like I just, it's just the wacky time of the year now where they're just like you said, everybody's just slinging shit at each other from each side and seeing what sticks at this point.
yeah, yeah. So that was disappointing hearing from Tim. Um, let's go ahead and bring up. I'm back, everybody. I'm back from dying. Let's bring up this article here just because it kind of goes through a few things. And I know you said your stuff leads into kind of like some of the Arlington
Yeah,
stuff. And did you want to hit that real quick?
I mean, because
Yeah,
we
let's
haven't
hit
we
that real
haven't
quick before you forget and we dive into the
no,
article.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, basically with that, you got both sides saying who has a video, who got assaulted, who came.
Right.
This is what I know, and this is what's crazy to me. Like 8 out of the 13 Gold Star families all came out and in support, wanted him there. We wanted to take pictures. Yeah, I understand whatever rule regulation is that. Nobody. Okay, like if you're gonna say that, you have to also take into account that the 8 families that were there and wanted that shit to happen, like what they're saying as
Right.
well. You can't discount them either. So like that stuff. What really pisses me off is, not only does Tim Waltz, I think, flub in that interview, but then just the other day, when you have the however many it was 8 hostages that were just executed,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's asked on a tarmac, "Hey Tim, what do you have to say about that?" And he just says, yeah, I gotta go by," and then just leaves.
I didn't hear that. Yeah,
Yes, that is out there
I
by
didn't
all
see that.
means. You can look that up, and it just like I hate stuff like that, and especially her too. She keeps coming into these airports, flying in with her headphones in. She doesn't want to talk to the press. Like, you cannot just keep running away. Like, if
Yeah,
you can't even comment like anything until they officially say something. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that shit. Like, something just happened that's like an international issue over there. An American was killed, and it's
yeah,
just like, come on, like, especially if you're a National Guard guy. Now I don't care where you carried a weapon, either in the desert or in in a goddamn sand. I don't give a shit in the schoolyard. I don't care. Like, say something. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And it
That's
just,
weird. I do agree. That is very weird.
and then not only that, but now you have what happened. Not to even go off more, but the same thing. You have what happened yesterday. You know what I mean? And now all it is just gun control policy now. It's not the important issue of what's going on here. People were obviously hurt and killed, or with what happened over there. I haven't even gotten the full
Yeah,
story on that because it's just like school just started. It's like 2 days.
yeah, dude. It's that's insane. Is that
Yeah.
and it's funny. Last night in in Trump's town hall with Hannity, he goes, they're sending per usual. They're sending the worst of the worst people in
The
the
worst,
traffic, the
yes.
criminal. And he says they're making our criminals look nice compared. That's the good thing about it. Our criminals are nice compared to. I'm like, dude, our country has the most school shootings, I think, of any country in the world. It's like insane. Like, no, we got some fucked up people here, bro.
Yeah,
Like, just
we have
just as
some
much
we
as
have some
any other
bad
country.
hombres of our own. Definitely have some
Like,
hombres of our own. But yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
it doesn't help, getting
yeah.
other bad hombres to come over here as well and join into the,
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
look again.
the,
I don't know the details of yesterday and stuff. I don't know what weapon was used. I don't know what.
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
but I
it
do,
doesn't,
as
it doesn't.
always.
It's
I
it's definitely
I
an
do
assault weapon
say,
because they off on that
yep,
for adult. That's all. We need to ban assault weapons again. Like, okay, well, all right. Like, I saw one of Biden's tweets says we need to ban assault weapons again, again. That means you did it once and it didn't work. So like, I don't like. We need to like really sit down and have just like conversate, like real
yeah.
conversations.
It
You know,
needs to be a full. I mean, there needs to be regulations for sure and stuff,
there
and there
needs to be
needs to be. I mean,
something.
if
There
it's
needs to be
obviously this
something.
was a kid, I think
Yeah.
so. How did he get a hold of the gun? Was it his parents' gun?
Exactly.
At that
And I
point,
mean, not only that, but like I said, this week has been crazy because you have so much stuff. We also had 90 pages of that, the manifesto of one of the other school shooters just come out that it took over a year to get released. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
all this stuff and information we're not being told because, oh, what are they, who or what they identify and as, what, all this craziness, and we can't get because we can't have honest conversations about anything because who's going to be offended, who's going to feel like they're being disparaged because we're talking, you know what I mean? And it just, this is why none of these problems are getting solved, and then we just end up in the same loop of we keep going to problem reaction solution, and it never works because all you're doing is just reacting to something and just saying, okay, well, here we'll put these and these laws in place, and then while me, you, and Joe Schmo down the street, might make it a little bit inconvenient or harder for us. Joe Chill, who just ran into the school and obviously didn't give a fuck about what the laws were. That I'm sure that school was a gun-free zone. That didn't stop him either. You can't, a sign and bullshit like that just isn't gonna help. We have to understand and solve modern problems maybe with a little bit more of modern thinking and not just rely on people. Oh, look, a sign says I can't bring a gun in here and shoot people. Darn it, they got me. You know what I mean? Like, that's never happened ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ever. Not one person with the intent to kill anybody has ever seen a gun-free zone sign and just thought to themselves, "Son, I can't go in here." I can't. I'm gonna get in trouble. And
Right.
it's just again, like I said, it's just been such a crazy week that the politics have almost been overshadowed, and you know what I mean. And it just seems like
Yeah, they're
between
starting
these,
to be. Well, it's weird. This, they say this happens every election too, and it is
well,
kind of weird when you
it
look at
does.
that. Yeah, yeah, all this.
All these crazy news cycles start happening and stuff like this, and whose family member comes out for the other side to say, yeah, my uncle, my dad, my cousin, my brother, they screwed me. I hate them. They're pieces of shit.
Right.
That's what we got going on right now. And it's as funny as it is. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It gets to a point where you like the focus I think is definitely being lost here.
Yeah.
Regardless of what side you fall, just I don't know. The rhetoric on both sides is just it's turned up to 11 right now.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing I had on my notes too was rhetoric.
Yeah.
Same rhetoric being tossed back and forth and stuff. And
Well, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's a lot, specifically with Trump's town hall when we get into that. On the Arlington stuff, I mean, yeah, that one is very weird. Look, obviously, if the family wants Trump there, I think honor the family and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they have to at least
know,
have their opinions count for something. They are
sure,
Gold Star families. They do mean something. They are the ones that lost. They did say that they invited Biden Harris, who didn't show up. I mean, he came. Like, this is what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what happened, if somebody got pushed or somebody tried to stop them and say, no, you can't have your camera in here. Like, I don't know because people say they have fucking footage, and the guy says, yeah, they did that to me, or they did that to me, but nobody's come out and shown anything or proven it. You know what I'm saying? And all I know
yes,
is that these families came out and said, look, we wanted the guy there, we wanted pictures there, we wanted to commemorate and celebrate our fallen sons, daughters, brothers, whatever.
right,
And like it just like for that, whether regardless of if which he did, there's no denying that he made a TikTok or somebody in his group made a TikTok in his campaign. Somebody did. I'm sure he didn't just sit
yeah,
there because he's definitely not editing TikToks and posting them to his page. But you know
right,
what I'm saying? Somebody
yes.
posted a TikTok, like somebody
He had
speaks
he
for
had his
Biden all day
people
long.
right, right,
Yeah. So okay, fine. Again, none of if is to me, I know some families are like, well, my so and so's tombstone was seen in there as well, and that's what. Okay, fine. But then he blacked out names too, so I don't know what else you really want. Like, okay, you don't want the guy to have your son's name or daughter's name near the guy. I understand that, but every president goes take some sort of photo that's used in some sort of campaign way.
yeah,
And and at this point, to me, when families are like, "Well, we wanted him there," to me, that's where the conversation is. I really don't care.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you
I
want to
think
talk about some,
that's fine.
if somebody, one of his people in his crew there, got into a tussle between the guy who got into the tussle and the Arlington person, let them come out
Right,
and deal with each other and say this is what happened or this is what didn't happen, and go from there. Like I feel like it's a like it just sucks. I feel bad for those people because you have a moment where you're like, okay, I'm going to take them at their word. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to believe eight
right.
different families. They all can't be lying. If they are, good for them. But you know what I mean? Just pull that off. But they seem
Good.
genuine. They seem sincere. They actually lost people. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming, and it sucks. What to them or for them, what was supposed to be like a good, cool, nice moment. Regard what people think of how they posed in photo, like that's just him. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, is
I
that like
mean,
the
I
greatest
think
pose
the
ever to sit there and do a thumbs up? Probably not. But you know what? If none of them are sitting there going, "You fucking asshole," like then I can't really, you know what I'm saying? They all seemed
yeah.
happy. So like, if they're
Well, I
happy,
think
I'm happy. It ain't.
that's the thing. I think maybe he could have left all of that for the day and look. It's not like the family wasn't going to take videos and photos and all that
Exactly.
stuff, and they did and all that. So I think
That's what I mean.
that
It's
was
their
the big
day.
thing.
Leave them the
But
fuck alone.
yeah, again, it's one of those things where it like this is getting away from like this is not a really big deal
That's
to me.
well. That's what I
It's
mean.
like yeah.
No, it's
So
the
I
same
agree with
equivalent as Kamala's change of accents, which is hysterical. But
yeah, yeah, and I don't think yeah, I think people
she
are
goes
reading
to
too much into
Michigan
that
and
too.
talks, and then goes down to Pennsylvania and talks like a farmer.
I mean,
It's just whatever.
yeah. Okay,
Like
so this is on
yes,
the
let's get
Kamala
into this.
interview. This is her kind of breaking it down,
Hmm.
explain exclusive interview. Got the word form here. All
Yes.
right,
Why
so on
did you
Thursday, she
change
offered
your mind?
her most expansive explanation today on why she's changed some of her positions on fracking and immigration. Let's see,
Hmm.
she told she would name a Republican to serve in her cabinet, which that's nice.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
I think she would. I don't see why not.
I
She's
don't
walked
think she
across
would
the
either.
aisle
But like,
before.
I mean, there's that doesn't surprise me. You already have, the handful of Republicans that have already come out in support of her. So that, yeah, sure.
Right.
Anyone, I'm sure one of them is jockeying for a cabinet position as we speak right now. Oh yeah, I love you. You're the best.
Let's see. She described. Okay, we don't care about that. She brushed off her rival's questioning of her. Now, I will say that was great. Her response to that was great. I did appreciate that. The how she,
Which response to her?
her response to Dana's question about Trump, uh,
Oh yeah,
saying she
being
happened to
about her
turn
being a
black
chameleon.
with the
Yes,
racial identity. Yes. Now that what because there was an opportunity there for her to really go into and do all that, bring up the Obama stuff, and then
oh
she said
sure.
same old playbook. Let's move on. Next question.
I,
You
my
know,
my
like
my question is, how many takes did that take for her to get that, and who wrote that line?
terrible,
Because
terrible. I think
I just want to remind everybody this was a half hour taped interview that they had like
yeah,
6 weeks to prepare for.
yeah. Well, sure. Well, I don't know when they scheduled it, but I
2 weeks,
mean, yeah,
3 weeks. Somebody wrote all these things for her, so
I think that was a good. Well, even if it was written, it was a good response.
I
That's I
think
think that's the
I think
right
the response
response.
was good. Sure,
Don't
yes,
basically don't pay attention to it. Move on.
that's
We're
fine.
not going to acknowledge the stupid little stuff like that.
Sure.
Um,
While she's switching accents in Detroit.
I need to hear these accent things because I haven't heard that.
Dude, it's
I
hysterical. All in the same day, 3 hours apart in Detroit rally, and telling them, y'all better vote for, y'all better thank a union member for the 5-day work week. Y'all better thank a union member for sick days. And then 3 hours later, she's in Pennsylvania. You guys better thank union members for sick days.
hey,
And you better
sometimes
thank you.
when
Oh my,
you're
yeah.
around your people, you get it comes out a
Get
little
a
bit
little
more,
too
right?
comfortable. Yeah, right?
My Hispanic comes out a little bit more in certain situations, right? My Latino.
You could take the girl away from the streets, but you can't take the streets away from the girl, I guess. So, yeah, she's letting it out for sure. But I digress. Let's continue here with this as she delves into her most, what did it say? What was the first line? The most, they used a big
Her
word.
most in depth, or what it
Yes,
was.
her most in depth. Yeah, there we go.
Let's see. Her
Same
most
meaning. Yes,
expansive
her most expensive
explanation.
because she hasn't said anything.
Dear Lord. All right. As to describe her day one objectives, let's see. She did not list any specific steps, like signing executive actions or orders. Instead, she reiterated her focus on strengthening the economy. First and
Yes,
foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to try to support and strengthen the middle class. In the post
yes.
convention phase of the race, Harris is seeking to address scrutiny of her record and add substance to her pitch to American voters on how she would govern if elected president. Harris has been under pressure to explain her policy positions in greater detail during a sit down interview. The last minute campaign has been fueled not by detailed proposals or policy papers, but by Democrats energized by the newly competitive election. Pressed by Bash on her reversals on fracking and decriminalizing illegal border crossings, Harris sought to explain why her positions had changed. Harris sought to. How should voters look at some of the changes that you've made? Bash asked Harris. Is it because you've have more experience now and have learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic Party? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying is going to be your policy moving forward? Harris responded, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I always have believed, and I've worked on it, that the climate crisis is real and that is an urgent matter that we should apply metrics that should include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. Um, Her campaign later said Harris does not continue to support the Green New Deal, a wide-ranging proposal to address climate change first introduced in 2019. Um, let's see. Yes, obviously her positions on fracking have changed. Um, like now this is a kind of again all like little stuff to me where it's like, okay, yes, her positions have changed over the years for whatever reason, whether she's learned
Yeah,
some things, whether she's with fracking, she specifically said, I was a little ignorant,
I guess, but she
and she
gave no
learned some things.
explanation to why, though. Why were you ignorant? What information did you get? How did you come to the
She was
conclusion that you
well
could still do Green New
back
Deal
then.
without banning it? Like, what made you decide that besides election? Like,
Well,
I
even
need
now, she says she doesn't support the Green New Deal in full anymore. So
why?
there's things she's
Why when she was
changed
such a
on
big
that.
proponent of it? Like, why? Like, this is what we're not getting. You could tell me that all day. That's fine. You could go against everything that you originally stood for 4 to 6 years ago, but tell me why. You're giving this is I'm getting deja vu of her fucking of the goddamn whatever the last thing we went through with CNN where we're sitting there, or the DNC. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. We're getting nothing. We're getting nothing. And I just want to let everybody know how long ago was this interview? How many days ago?
We could
A
go
week.
now.
Oh,
A week ago
okay.
today.
A
Yes.
week ago today. So from a week ago today, she does this interview. Let me tell you something. You know, it's not on her website still. Any policy fucking points at all. Even after this interview, there's no like expanse on any of this.
Yeah.
It's
Well, she
insanity.
now on fracking, she did actually say this. She says, "What I've seen is that we can grow and can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking." So that's what she's obviously learned.
So
Um,
my question is, where did you learn that though?
Again, whether from her time in
July,
the administration or just more, detail and stuff. Yeah. Now
eight
that's
years
one thing.
ago when Trump was doing it, like that's what I mean. Like
She
this is
seems
why her
to have a
policies
bit
need
of
to be more defined to me.
yeah. She's got a bit of Trump syndrome in that, like, I think when she hears a group of people that support her say something, she takes what they say and just
Sure,
before kind of
I'm
Trump will
I'm
do the same thing
I'm all
sometimes. A
for
lot
that,
of them will do
but
that.
you can't be second.
Yeah.
You can't be second on it and just be like, well, because like
Well, I mean, Trump has done the same thing on certain things too, specifically with the evangelicals when they've tried to push him too far on stuff or when he's not willing. So like
oh sure, but
it's
he'll at
it's
least tell you why and what he's going to do, not just well, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah, we've
I
set
just
goals for the United States. She's pointing to her record as California Attorney General when she
mm,
prosecuted gangs accused of cross-border trafficking as an indication of her values on immigration. My values have not changed, so that's the reality of it. In 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you one of the aspects to your point is traveling the country extensively, pointing to her 17 visits to Georgia since becoming vice president. I believe it is important to build consensus and it's important to find a common place of understanding where we can actually solve problems. Okay, I can agree with that. Yeah, because the border is, I think it's a much bigger issue than
sure,
like. Yes, it's a conversation. It's we need to actually sit
absolutely.
down and talk like a long, long conversation. It's not just adding more border patrol or closing the border, doing
Oh
this or
no,
whatever, or making all the illegals legal. Like
well,
there's
absolutely, and I don't know who if she keeps coming up with these these one-liners that she keeps having here of my values haven't changed because why would like again like you're telling me you're not going to do anything that's all that I'm hearing is I'm
Well,
not
I'll tell you what
nothing's going to change.
that line is for. I can tell you what that line is for. That line is for. It's kind of Tim Walz has used that line too. I think that's the line that the Dems are kind of using in that like
It's a nothing line.
we may still have some kind of like more leftist leaning policies, but we have to be careful here because yeah, we are trying to do the thing where we're going to be more bipartisan and listen a bit more. So we're going to have to compromise on some things. Not we're not going to get everything that we want. So our values haven't changed, but we have to look at the bigger picture here. Look at whatever their values are. Again, if that's them being more liberal on certain things or more wanting to whatever blah blah blah. That's kind of how I've interpreted that phrase in the context that it's been used a few times over the course of her campaign, not just by her but by um, Walt as well.
Mhm. I mean, I don't know. You're way more optimistic than I am because all I hear is if you just saw what we did for the last 4 years, get ready for more. That's really all I'm hearing. Because my
That is
values
also,
haven't
I
changed.
think, a big part. Yeah,
Like if she's not writing that, whoever does write it, I would tell her to stop that immediately. Like stop with the joy bullshit. Stop with like I just you keep saying we're not going back. We're just a new way forward. How? Like just because the only thing can't be because we're gonna elect a woman of color as president. Like that's not a new way forward. That means nothing. We already had a person of color as president. It did it. You know what changed? Nothing. Nothing changed.
yeah,
Nobody was nicer. Nobody cared about anybody any more than it didn't matter. Nothing happened. Nothing. Everybody was happy for the week, and then everybody just went about their business for the next 8 years of the guy. So like I need more myself. I don't see like to me this whole thing was a wet fart. It was just a wet fart on both. Like you have a half hour. Like you can't like if you can't do this in a tape, like how is she going to handle a live debate? Like she is so lucky that there isn't a live audience there. 100%. I think
yeah,
100% she's lucky in that mics are mute because it's. I think again it's pretty much the same parameters as with him in the last debate with Joe Biden. And to me, you can't like if this is like if we go to this debate and it comes to if I keep hearing these same lines that we're reading here that we read in her speech at the DNC, if I get this like there's no way, there's no fucking way. Like like people are gonna start like just being like, come on. Like at some point, even the most hardcore people, I think, are just gonna be like, I need more than just a new way forward. I'm
yeah,
happy he's miserable. He's weird. I'm not. You know what I mean? I just don't. Tim
yeah.
is a
We
nice fucking guy. JD's fucking likes couches. Like I
Yeah, we need
just
to get past all that stuff and get to the actual stuff. I mean, yeah, with her economic policy, she kind of addressed that a little bit more, but she's already kind of said what she's going to do or what she wants to do there. Again, not much detail, but like there is some sort of
sure
economic
strengthen the middle
plan.
class. Make
Right.
a
Yeah.
make
That's
an
her whole thing.
opportunity
Yeah.
economy, which I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know what that means.
Um,
Everybody succeeds. Well, how? How do
her
you do that?
plans did not amount to a wholesale departure from policies Biden has pursued over the course of her term, but she has chosen to focus more centrally on discussing affordability as a messaging strategy rather than
Hmm.
job creation or manufacturing gains as Biden did. Thursday, Brash pressed Harris to explain why those proposals hadn't been executed during the 3.5 years of the Biden administration. She said, "We had to recover as an economy, and we have done that." She said, pointing to efforts of containing inflation, cutting costs for prescription drugs, and cutting taxes for families. But there's more to do. There's more to do, but that's good work. Harris also did not expose any daylight between herself and Biden on the Middle East. Yeah, we know
No,
their
nothing.
stance on
And all she kept doing, once again, the same thing as she did at the DNC, just reiterating her plan to the child care tax credit of $6,000 for the first year of a baby. Which okay, great. After that, well, it's fuck you again. It doesn't matter. And then again, here we'll give you $25,000 as a down payment. There's houses in my area, which is a small rural area that I grew up in. There's a $500,000 houses, which weren't like that. Rents and
that.
stuff used to be $450, $500. Now they're $1,100, $1,200. $25,000 isn't going to do anything. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And again, where does that come from? No talk about that. There's just there's a lot of there's idea with it's not even a glass half full idea. It's like the water's running and we're struggling to put the cup under the faucet. Like like we got polio in our hand or something. We can't just get it under there. Like you know what I mean? It's just It's so frustrating because for as wacky and crazy as Trump is, and for all the dumb shit he does, or the shit that people think is disparagable and despicable, and his 34 felonies for lying about his worth and properties, or his civil suit against a lady who thought rape was sexy and accused him of raping her with no proof, and who's ugly as sin. This is the guy supposedly letting Russian people piss on him, but he's going to go for that lady. Sure, okay, all
Right.
this stuff, and then this is what I have to hear from them, and it's just like like you, if you win an election like this, if this is how they win with really just doing nothing, by doing nothing, they're saying they're doing things, but they are doing nothing.
Right.
You know, then I'm losing hope for this whole country on both sides, because this is just, it's so insane that you can just get away with, like, you can't, like, I'm sorry, like, you should, like, it's just, it drives me up a wall, because I heard nothing in that interview. As we continue to go through, and we'll see, it's just, there's nothing. And I don't mean to keep going off on a rant here, but
No.
it's just, it's so,
Well, that's pretty much the interview. I mean, she pretty much like.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
nothing.
It was another nothing burger for the most part. She needs to get deeper. And again, even if it's we're doing the same thing Biden, was doing, be very clear about that. Like, do something because at this point, like we talked a little bit about, and Bill Maher's talked about some of the other political commentators out there.
Yeah,
I think the Dems right now they're on this kind of road of we just need to win. We just need to win. We need to ride out this wave and make it to November and just win, no matter what. And I don't think that's enough right now because that's going to run out. I think by the end of September at least, or depending on how the debates go,
yeah,
could
I
be
don't think.
earlier.
I mean, well,
Uh,
I would agree with you, but it seems like that's what's happening though. Like, I believe you just have these people that don't care though. You know what I mean? That are just like, well, yeah, yeah, we just got to win, so just vote for her. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? At this point, people will write in their imaginary friend on the ballot. You know what I'm saying, on the ballot, just to, you know what I
Harambe's
mean?
coming back on the
Yeah, just to take a
ballot.
vote away, like from him. Like, it's so, and like, I don't understand now, because, like I said, I was happy with hearing that RFK joins, and I would love to see him be in charge of something like he said with chronic illness and kids, if he could do something with that. Everybody says he's crazy, but you know what? I'd love to see Trump win and appoint him to that and see if he is. Prove it to me. You say you're not crazy. Do what you say you're going to do, and let me see that you can help kids that are always sick, and that you can help it. Like, I'm all for
Yeah.
that. I'm all for that. Then I'll believe everything you say. Your brain worm, you cutting off whales' heads, and dumping bear cub bodies and central whatever, all this stuff. Good for you. Then you know what I mean. I'll support you 100%. But, like, I just, I see policies with them, regardless of what people think about him, or the people that now are surrounding him, like RFK Jr., like Tulsi Gabbard, his affiliation with Elon, all this stuff. Vivek. I think about having all these people together with him, and if that's the people he surrounds himself with this time, people who I think do have some good ideas, whether they might be kooky or not. And again, I don't. Maybe we need more kookiness. Something has to give, because we can't keep going through the same routine, the same empty promises, the same bullshit, and then we just end up in the same spot again. Because
Yeah,
you know what?
I
If this
agree.
guy
We
could do it,
like,
he'll be running. If he doesn't win again, people think, oh, he'll go away. I don't think he will. He'll still come back. He'll make
yeah.
Don Jr. run. He'll make
Oh
Barron
God.
run. He'll make everybody run.
Well, one of the sons already said they were going to run eventually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
He'll make his daughter
that
run.
he wants Vivek as his running mate or whatever.
Dude, that's what I mean.
Um,
Like, people are talking about young, fresh blood. I mean, like somebody like Vivek, and I think somebody like Tulsi Gabbard.
oh
Again,
no.
hey,
Oh no.
I mean, again, everybody I see, aside from her, it's the same. Like she said, her values haven't changed over there. It's the same routine. It's the same. To me, it just looks like the same turd, just repolished.
I do think there definitely needs to be something done to in the Democratic Party. I mean, look, I think Kamala has an opportunity here, but I don't know. I think right now the Dems don't want to risk it and don't want her to say something or go too crazy with policies or say something again. Like because they want to win. Like they want to not get Trump elected, and so I
Well,
think they're
like
being very kind of cautious and scared of what they say, what they have her say,
all right,
and what she said.
I
Like,
mean, I guess my hope would be that her policies that she has and that she's figured out with her staff are like so amazing that she's saving them for the debate. That's when she's just gonna, you know what I mean? Like a
yeah,
big mic drop. Like, look at these policies. You never thought of the. Like, it better be something like that because again, if I just hear these same tired lines that we've heard now from the DNC speech and
it's not
this,
going to go well. Yeah,
no, because what is to me, this is nothing more than an edited, cut down version of the DNC speech. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think that, like I said, the interviewer asked if you could, but it really wasn't like a. She didn't press her on anything. You know what I mean?
yeah,
On nothing. Couple questions she asked. She asked Tim
yeah. She
Walz
should
with
have
his
pressed
stuff
her
like,
more. Yeah,
are you sure this is what you meant to say? Stuff like that. But it was still a softball for her. It should have been so easy. And pardon me, but again, if you think about it, like if that was Trump, even for a cut up half-hour interview, it would have been it would have been entertaining. That was
yeah,
just terrible. They're just sitting in like an empty coffee shop in the dark. Like, fucking, like, come on. Like, go out and be lively. You're supposed to be, you know what I mean? Sit on your bus or some bullshit. I'd rather see
yeah,
that. You know what I'm saying? Get out of the fucking
yeah.
coffee shop in the dark. Like, what is this? Like, they look like it was like a Godfather scene. Like, get out of there. Why are you meeting in secret? It's
I
just
mean, yeah. Well, now again, that's one of those things. I'm not looking at the background or like
no,
Trump's.
I
Trump's
know.
doing the same thing, but the opposite with like all these lavish things. He did Dr. Phil with the Vegas strip behind him, like not a green screen, like they were in Vegas, probably in Trump Tower, with the
Hell
whole.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Um,
To me, that's more homely. That's live. There's life going on there.
I mean,
Everything with them just seems so. It's just so. It's the same like stagey, just tired Democratic bullshit, and This is why I'm so. Aside
well, I
from
think that I think the
everybody's been sick
Republican
this
is the
week, but
same thing. Like they're the same stagey stuff with Trump and his all big egregious,
sure. But I
and
mean,
everything's a show.
but
Everything's
you have
like
to
this
look at it though.
whole.
She's done one interview compared
This
to
is
the
just this is just calmer and more normal with her, which I think people are kind of more attracted to right now. I think that's kind of wanted.
maybe, but again, that doesn't do anything. How does that help us solve? She can't just keep going around and saying, "Well, we need
No,
to
I
make a
agree. Yeah,
deal between Israel and Palestine. We need to come to a ceasefire." Okay, well, come on. What are you doing? There's people
right.
dying. Like, I don't want you to wait. Like, you want to secure the vote? Get a ceasefire today.
Yeah,
Like,
which I think they
yeah.
probably will closer to the election. I do think that's
Sure.
probably going to
Well,
happen.
then start talking
Um,
about it. Lay the groundwork. Do
yeah,
something. Put pressure on him to be like, well, now I need to. I'll get a ceasefire, but I'll do it right now. I'll call him up tomorrow. Netanyahu, I'll be over there on my plane. Like something. You need to get him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Something because if God forbid, God fucking forbid, all of a sudden, fucking Netanyahu or the Palestine guy or Hamas comes in, oh, Donald Trump said we made peace. Like,
right,
you look like an asshole. You know what I mean? Like if that's his October surprise, oh, I made peace, and I told the Republicans to pass the border bill this time. Haha.
right,
Some
right,
shit. It's all me. I did the greatest things ever. Nobody's ever done these great things before an election when they're not a president before in the history of history. All his
Jesus.
rhetoric and bullshit. You know what? Like I just like I keep saying, I need something from them, and I keep getting absolute bullshit. And this debate is going to be, to me, this is it. It's especially since she didn't agree to the one that was supposed to be yesterday, which is why
Yeah,
Trump had his town hall. And then again, she didn't agree to the one that Trump proposed after the 10th, which was whatever day that was supposed to be the following week, which I'm sure he'll just have another town hall.
right.
You know what I mean? He's
Or maybe she will. Hopefully she will. I
yeah.
hope they do. They need to do more
Well, listen, while she has good rallies and Walls has good rallies, and they go out there and they got crowds and everybody's happy and they got the music and the thing, and none of her music people are trying to get her to stop playing their music. Like Isaac Hayes' son is over there trying to get Trump to stop playing his dad's music or whatever.
right,
It just like there's just nothing. A party's great, you know what I mean, and I like the atmosphere and the energy that they show and bring is good. You know what I mean? Because again, most of the time, a lot of the Trump stuff, I don't know who's telling him to like just stick because he's just literally just teleprompter reading. He's
Yeah,
making the same speeches, he's doing his thing, he's just like going through the motions, getting his points out. But again, he's all just hitting his policies. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do it with that, and then when I get this, I'm going to do that, and then once we get these guys in here, I'm going to do that, and then if this guy doesn't listen, he's an idiot, and he's gone, and then I'll put this guy in here, and we'll do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he's like at this point, if he is gonna just try and become a dictator and rule the world, at least he's upfront and telling us about it. She's not telling us anything. She's just being
true.
everything's such a secret. And like I said, I don't know how if she has a bad performance at this debate coming up, I don't know how you recover. Like I
Yeah,
really
all
don't.
eyes. Yeah, now that's going to be
And
all eyes are
I'll
on
shut up now so
that.
you could talk because I've just like I said, I've just been going through.
No,
This has
I
been
don't mind. I don't. Yeah, no, I
no,
don't
I
mind.
know,
I've
but
just been taking notes and stuff.
no, I agree. But it's just been like I said, this whole past couple of weeks has just been crazy with all this stuff. And like I said, it to me it just bothers me whether when you say you win at any cost, then you need to be out there. I think doing interviews, and I don't just mean doing
Right,
your town halls that are streamed or televised. I mean, like you need to be out there like this dude. This guy has gone on almost every podcast with the exception of Joe
right,
Rogan. That's like the only one he hasn't touched. You know what I'm saying? He was just on Lex Friedman.
absolutely.
He did podcasts with, a younger audience with whatever his name, Aiden Ross and all them. You know what I'm saying? He went to the Black Journal. He's going out there, and not only that, but he's going to places where he's not welcome and people don't like him to begin with, but he's hitting these, like if you ask me, like if I was her campaign manager, like I would be running her campaign like he is. Like
Well,
all
I
the
think
people
what
that
there's a
he's
couple
talking
things. I
to
think
is to me
with that,
is all the people she's trying to hit. You know what I'm saying?
I do understand. I think there's a couple things with that though too, right? I think I think we've all kind of she's already not like the best. We're gonna see how she does debate wise, especially with Trump. But speaking, she can, she's weird at certain times. She's got, she likes certain phrases that she repeats a lot. She does these certain
Yes, I'm
things.
burdened by what has been. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and all that.
Terrible.
And so I don't know. I think maybe they're telling her like not too much public speaking or
I
something. I don't know.
I
Like,
mean, that could be, and I don't want to be like speculative like that, just to be like, oh yeah, she's just, maybe that's true. Maybe she is just a lot of times. Sometimes you see her in debates and she's good. Sometimes you see her in
right?
debates and she's horrible.
Yeah,
Sometimes she makes sense when she talks. Sometimes she, pulls a Joe Biden when she doesn't have a script or a teleprompter. She's just like you said, we could be unburdened by what has been. Like just all this just word salad, her her mumbo
right.
jumbo and her bullshit when she's just filling in gaps by saying the same thing three times. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah,
we can't like you can't have like to me, and maybe I'm just thinking I'm a normal person here relatively, like if I'm a Democrat and I'm watching this, like this is infuriating. Like
it
because
is a
again,
bit.
I'm not going to just be like, okay, well, it's not him, so I'm gonna vote. Like because again, we can already check the box that because it's you're gonna have the people that just don't vote for him just because it's him and they don't like him, and then again, you're
Absolutely.
gonna have the people that are gonna vote for her just because of the fact that she's a woman and a woman of color, and that's fine. Whatever people want to vote for, that's their choice. But like to me, I need more than that. I can't just go by, well, yeah, that's it's all great. Even if I don't like him, even if I hate him or think he's the worst person in the world, I just don't. Again, I'm getting more out of him than I am from her when it comes to policy. I can. This is why. And again, this is why I think people, a lot of his people, and a lot of people that are voting for him, put aside everything else and look the other way about it because when you get down to it, it's his policies that what people are like, you know what? He's an absolute Looney Tune. And he just said the most ridiculous, probably racist, and probably somewhat just ignorant shit to press and, just everybody in the world.
Right, right.
But at the end of the day, people agree with his policy. That's what it is. And
Well, I think
that's his appeal that everybody that people get behind, whether it's
to
evangelicals, anybody, even me.
I, I think to some extent, yes. So his policy appeals to people, especially like, but at the same time, Dems have done a big switch over the last few years in trying to be more appealing as well with the whole like, okay, bringing back oil, on the Dem side too, bringing more, keeping businesses here and those types of deals here and those types of things. So like they've kind of they've taken kind of a step out of the Republican playbook in that sense, which I think is good because it opens it up to more people, to them to be more bipartisan, more for all Americans, like they've been saying. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know. I do think that with Trump, there are certain things beyond his policies that just really, again, we've talked about kind of before, concern me, as far as
Sure.
his where this could go, dictator wise, or just I don't know. I never thought that way. I'm not an extremist person in that type of sense at all, but he has proven me wrong almost in everything that I defended that I thought he would never do. And now with all these criminal charges, it's just it's messy for him. And if he comes in there as president and goes, a president can do whatever he wants when he's president with um, no consequence, no worry about breaking the law, and so that's an even bigger thing. Like, yeah, there are things about him that I think are detrimental to, like, detrimentally un-American. And I
Well,
think, while
every president to
I
an
don't think
extent
it's
has
the end of the
immunity from
world.
stuff they do,
Sure. But
acts
with
of being
Trump,
naughty.
God knows where how far he'll take that, because he's
Yeah,
already
but
shown
he already
he'll
had
take
four
things
years. He
far.
would have done it. Yeah, but he would have done it already. He
But
would have
he
done
didn't
it
have
already.
that. The Supreme Court just ruled that, so that will be applied to this. And we still don't know. God knows whenever
Yeah,
the
but it still doesn't matter. Obama never got charged for all the innocent lives he drone struck for 8 years.
say what?
Yeah,
What innocent lives
Obama.
did Obama Trump strike? That was Hillary Clinton.
No, that's Obama
We
was
blame we
president.
blame Hillary,
No, no.
but she was Secretary of Defense.
Hillary has people Clinton. Hillary has people killed here in the
Hillary
states.
has
People that
people
speak out about.
Clinton.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. Hillary. Yeah, she has people Clinton. No, she has people killed here in the states. She don't do the overseas killing.
Oh God. I
She
thought
kills
that
all
was
her
a.
witnesses here. No, but again, again, I disagree when it comes to that. I disagree with you because I think
I
everybody
don't. Again,
goes there way too much, way too much.
well, I don't try to go to. I still don't go to the point of like, no, I don't think him being elected president is the end of the world, or that
Yeah,
America's
no, me
over, or
either.
blah blah blah, or like, yeah, I don't go as far as that. I think it'll be close to the same probably as the first time. A lot of arguing and tweeting and name calling and just divide and
But again,
like
I'm with for
an
most of that.
encouragement in that divide instead of an encouragement on unity. And I
Yeah, but some of these people we need to have divide with these people, even regardless
we
of what
need to
side of
have
the aisle we are,
divide, but
because
we
a lot
can
of these
have
people
that
need to
in.
go.
I think we can have divide, but I think we can have that, and we can have a leader do that in, again, in a more civil way. When we have all this divide and it's causing all this, you know, stuff amongst the people, it makes us look. I think that's when it gets really dangerous, because that's, I think, when we look our weakest, not when our politicians are divided, but when us as a people are as divided as that, because that's a really dangerous thing, I think. And um those 4 years were interesting to watch and be a part of, and see just
Sure, but
politics really take I probably it's probably similar to something probably like in the 80s, or with Reagan or JFK or some of these but and we just haven't lived through, or I haven't lived through something as kind of polarizing as it yet. And so
well, no,
I don't
neither
I
have I.
don't
Don't make me sound that old. I'm only
Hey,
38.
listen,
I didn't live
listen.
through
What year
Kennedy
were
and
you were born in
born in
the 80s?
85.
Okay. So you were a slave owner, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
God damn it, you got me.
He said, "You millennial fucks."
Yeah.
Um, but
All my farm equipment I can't use anymore thanks to you people.
uh, yeah. So I don't know. I don't go as far as to say that, but I do think that, yeah. he is not the best option.
I mean,
Even if his policies can be good.
I still think he is. I mean, for the reason I think he is because I think he does get the respect of the other leaders around the world more so than
I don't know if it's
our
respect though. I think he
I
he
think it
says it's
is.
respect, but I
They
don't think
do.
I think these guys know
They
that they have
every
somebody on their side in a weird way,
Sure,
and
but you have
somebody
to be. That's why people
they
are.
can
That's
manipulate
allies. I
in
don't
a
think they're
weird way too.
manipulating
Like,
them. I don't think so. Nobody did anything those first 4 years. We had no new wars. None.
listen, if
None.
Vladimir
As soon
Putin wants Trump to be president, that's my indication of I don't want him to be president.
Well, no. If that was the case, now again, that
Or
story
one
coming
of
up two of our Russian disinformation agents here, but again, none of that
I
has been
know.
tied to Trump. And again, the last time they tried
Hold on,
saying stuff
we
was
should
Russia
probably make
banned.
an announcement now. We are not being paid by the
No,
Russians. This was not a
we're being
ploy.
paid by anybody for that matter.
Oh, I'm being
If
paid by
somebody,
somebody for sure.
oh, fine.
Oh, I'm being paid. You're not being
No,
paid? They
no,
didn't
I'm
call you the
not.
Illuminati?
No, Trump,
Shit.
call me. Call me.
Trump.
I will
Oh,
I'll hawk RNC bullshit for you all day on Twitter, like the
the Illuminati.
Kasatsian brothers.
The Illuminati got to me. You're gonna start seeing certain symbols and stuff in the background and stickers and stuff. Just don't think of anything of it. Um, but if I wear like one of those masks, those eyes wide shut masks during one of the streams, everything's fine. But yeah, no. What were? Oh yeah, the Russians.
The
Before we got
Russians.
to the Illuminati.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I just heard about that whenever that broke yesterday or whenever it broke. So I haven't seen everything about it, but yeah, now
Yeah.
we got Russia's back involved again. But again, I think he does get the respect of the is why nothing happened. And I think because of the fact he does make deals, and I think because of the fact he isn't a typical politician, and I think because of the fact that he does, even if nobody likes it, he does threaten the fact that listen, I want you to do this. This is the deal I want to make. And if you stick around, I got the biggest army in the front. So like I don't know what you want to do. You could try
But I don't
and
know that that's the
yeah.
greatest tactic either. Like,
So, well, okay, think
stick
about it.
around and I'm
Do
going
you
to
think
war.
do you think somebody like well did we
Uh,
go to war? No, we didn't. So it
we did.
works.
We didn't. But like
But do you
again,
think
he
somebody
touts
like
that as
Pu-
his
I'm
tactic.
here?
It just
Yeah, but sometimes you
that
have to
concerns me
though.
still.
It can concern you. That's fine. I'll say your concern is valid. But what I'm saying is, I think do you think somebody like Putin, who is an ex KGB operative, who most likely has had people in his own administration go bye bye for not
Has
like
most likely killed somebody
yeah
with his own two hands.
yeah exactly. Do you think that dude just really just wants to sit down and have some sort of diplomatic conversation and is just going to respect somebody going, "Hi, Vlad.
Well,
Well, we're going to have a nice friendly chat. Can you
I
please
think
not mess with that small little
I
Ukrainian
think they
Frenchman?"
pay. I think they all do. I think Russia, China. I think we're very look. They pay the fuck attention to what's happening over here, and stuff. And I think Russia specifically sees that there's this weird support growing for it, especially amongst the Republicans and those that aren't are against the Ukraine, the our support of the Ukraine.
Well,
Um,
absolutely, because it's
and
such a
I
big
mean,
money laundering scheme.
look at the Tucker Carlson interview. That was wild. Like, I mean, Tucker's sitting there infatuated by this guy learning a fake history, a false history, and calling it fact, thinking it's fact. I mean, it's weird. That is weird to me. This whole infatuation with Russia and all that. I think it's weird that Trump calls uh, Kamala comrade when he's the one all up and friends with. If anybody should be calling anybody comrade, it's Comrade Trump. Like, let's be honest, the dude's way
Right.
closer and friends with Trump. Yeah, well,
Sure,
because
but he
I mean,
doesn't. But
like,
his policies aren't Marxist or communist. He's not trying to. He's not trying to accuse grocery stores and corporations of prey on a industry that has profit
no,
margins
but
of
that's not
under
the
two
meaning of
percent.
comrade. Comrade is a buddy, like he's all buddy with those guys. I think that's
Which in a degree you need to be, and they know that he's not,
yeah,
and they know that he's just crazy. That if they actually do fuck around again, when he told the Taliban, "Don't kill nobody died," and then when he said, "I'm going to kill Bakar Abu Ghraib," whatever that guy's name, when he came out there like at 3 a.m. about the
the
guy who
car
got killed,
Abu Booby, Abu
yeah,
Dhabi
that guy,
Booby.
exactly, that
He
guy,
went poopy in the doobie,
yeah,
and
like
we
that's what I
killed
mean.
him while he was pooping on the
Yeah,
toilet.
he sent dogs and shit to kill that guy, and then just watched it, and then talks shit about him when he announced that he died. Like again, like people see that and they don't fuck around. Now these idiots, like again, pull out there with Biden and Kamala being in office. These idiots are touting with our equipment, driving down the street. They're selling it. They got money. They got guns, and they're making videos like it's cool. Why? Because nothing's happening. Do you know? Regardless what you can say about the guy, if he was in office and they did that, do you know what would happen? Honestly, probably literally fly drones himself if he could over there, just to bomb whatever dirt road that they're driving on to destroy all the equipment that we left there. That's like the person you need at a time like this. Not that guy. Not somebody who just says, "Well, yeah, we did all this great stuff and you really didn't." Talk about your plans that never fruition. He's still at the beach probably. They dug him out yesterday to sit behind a tiny desk to make some announcement on some set somewhere. He wasn't even in the Oval Office or in the White House. This is embarrassing. And then again, we're just carrying over with her a new way forward to the same ship. It's a new path. It's like
Right.
Avengers. And I think we're in, the end game. Somebody took the
Uh,
Infinity Stone. She branched off. It's a new way forward to the same shit. It really is. We need to put it back. Vote Trump
Now, with the Hamas
2025.
situation, I wouldn't say that it was necessarily Biden or them that voted because there's a big thing like with obviously Iran funding them and fucking
Sure,
they do steal a lot of shit from Israel too.
sure. Well, how
Um,
about we just accidentally sent them like 60 or 160 million dollars
oh yeah,
somehow, and you know
I
what?
forgot to
You
look
can't.
into that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you can't blame that one on Trump. That never happened under his administration. We just never had a calculating error like that. And he'd lose his mind. He'd start bombing whoever's in the fucking our
Yeah,
own offices. You're right. Then he would be
I
a
have to look into.
dictator because he'd murder that guy. How do you do that? How do you accidentally send money to a terrorist group? This is what I'm saying. These people are insane that are running this country. Insane.
Well, let's look into
And
it. Let's see.
and while he is insane, again, to his insanity, because at least his insanity is just to get when it comes, it's just mostly when it comes to him, he's just in la la land. But there's some things I do believe him on. I do believe that when he tells when he calls the dude Rocket Man and says my button's bigger and if you push yours, like that dude probably believes that. He's like, oh no, nobody talks to me like that. He just like probably goes back and flies on his plane yelling at all like his people, like how dare he? Nobody does that. Like he's over there touching like the Saudi Arabian prince and shit when you're not supposed to do that in their country. Like he does not care about all these politicians and their bullshit. And that's again, that's even the psycho crazy people on the right. That's what they love about him. That he's even though he's a Republican, to most people, I think he represents the anti-establishment. Even though he's a billionaire, crooked mogul, he's still like so side of it that that's how he comes off to people, and that's why people see him as this Jesus Christ, holy figure that's come here to save that God made his head turn to the right and look at his chart. I love that chart.
Okay. So, unveiling the truth, U.S. strongly denies $239 million transfer to Taliban. Claim is spreading online that the United States accidentally sent $239 million to the Taliban. This allegation has caused quite a stir. However, the U.S. government strongly denies the claim.
Oh yeah,
They say there
yeah.
is no credible evidence to support it. The U.S. has given over 145 billion in aid to Afghanistan. They have strict measures in place to prevent funds from reaching the Taliban. These measures are designed to ensure the aid goes where it is needed most. Despite the safeguards, rumors continue to circulate. Some people believe the claim without checking the facts. This has led to confusion and misinformation. It's important to look at the facts before believing such claims. The U.S. government has a clear stance on this issue. Many experts also support this view. They say such a large transfer would not go unnoticed. There are many checks and balances in place to prevent this from happening. In conclusion, the claim that the U.S. sent the 239 million to the Taliban lacks evidence. The U.S. government and experts have both denied it. It's crucial to verify information. Well, I mean,
So
I would think
the
that. Yeah,
credible evidence is just
I
them
would think
saying we really
if
didn't
the
do that.
Taliban accidentally, if they accidentally did it too on like, yeah, I think we would. It would be a bigger deal than kind of. That's how I kind of knew is like I'm seeing this circulate on the internet, not in major.
Yeah, but still, it
Like
wouldn't be
this
the
would be.
first time.
You would also hear probably the Taliban go, "Fuck yeah, we're rich," you know, like we
Well, they
took the money
probably
and
are. I'm
ran.
not following them on Twitter. Are you?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. They're me and we DM each other all the time. Um, I mean,
Can't
I
spell
think
their
yeah,
name in those squiggles, so I can't find their page.
those squiggle. Um, I was gonna join the American sect, man. Didn't you know? But
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've lost money. So I mean, like, it's still like, I mean, again, can you believe this?
I mean, yeah, I
Maybe.
know
Can you
we've
not
done.
believe it? Maybe not. I don't know.
I know we've done things, but I don't think that's a bit much. I think that was
Well,
just kind of
is
an
it
internet
really
rumor
that
that kind of.
surprising? We left $1 billion worth of equipment for him. Why wouldn't we send him some money? We're sending
Oh
everybody
yeah,
else money.
back in the day, yeah, when we evacuated, got out of there,
Yeah,
yeah, that was not pretty.
yeah.
Um,
And they're over there having fun riding around in it. So I mean, like, I don't see why that's out of the realm of reality. That some idiot accountant's
well,
doing
again,
that.
because and I do agree too. Like the checks and balances in place for that to accidentally happen, it would be a big fucking deal. It'd be a very very big deal. It would be like, and it would be known. It would be known. Analysts, experts, all these things, because like that would, I'm sure, affect the economy in some sort of way. I mean, 239 was it million or billion? What is it?
Million.
Yeah,
Or
million.
whatever the heck. But it's something you could print in an hour. Yeah.
It's the budget of Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
um, yeah, I just, yeah, until I see some kind of harder evidence on that, I'm very, yeah, to uh to run with it. Um,
But
but with
I would
that,
think
let's
even still, people are. That's why people go to him, because it's nobody. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't give Taliban people 230 million.
who knows? Maybe he would do it on accident too.
Probably give it to himself.
Accident. Right. um. All right. So, talking a little bit about Trump's town hall last
Yes.
night. I don't know if you didn't get the chance to watch it, did you?
No, I didn't get a chance. So this will be fresh eyes for me to see. Like I said, the last thing I watched with him was the Lex Friedman podcast he did. So we'll see if it's mostly the same as what he talked about on there.
Um.
But
It seems kind of the same thing too. Like he's already gone through his policies and through a lot of things and stuff. It's more of just the claims that he's making, the rhetoric, of course.
sure.
My first note was immediately for the same rhetoric, the same stuff. Like um, we kind of talked a little bit again. Like he's talked about he gets mad at it. She flip flops on everything. She's one way or another. Like again, we could do this. I think they have done a video already of like him flip flopping on things too and stuff. Like that's politics. You either learn things and that change your mind and stuff. You change your way to get more votes. You do that. Like that's just. So for me, the flip flopping thing is an argument that we're just it's beyond me at this. Yes, they're gonna flip flop and
Which is
stuff,
fine.
and
I
yeah,
read.
exactly. You're either gonna agree with what they flip flopped on or not. That's
Yeah.
the main thing. But at some point, yes, they're gonna vote for me. He of course made the claim that it's so bad. Things are so bad right now. Let me tell you, you have to vote for me, even if you don't like me. You have to vote for me.
Get out there.
I'm like, okay, I don't think that helps. That I don't think that helps the people that weren't gonna vote or swing voters. Like again, kind of making that claim just overall, like you have to vote for me, like or else what? And he does say, We're very
That,
likely headed towards World War III with her.
yeah.
Okay, we're headed into that. What she said. He said back in 20. He said back in 2016. He said back in 2020. We've been going into World War III now for the past 12 years. Um, so that knows nothing. Of course they asked him, or they didn't. That's the thing. They don't even. They ask him something and he goes on these tangents of just kind of randomness of like,
Sure.
let me tell you, Sean, we wouldn't be in this position that we're in right. We wouldn't
Yep.
be in a war with the Ukraine. They wouldn't be in a war. Hamas October 7th would have never happened. Okay, not under my watch. All right. So like, it's kind of the we'd have world peace. Everything would be fine.
Yeah.
Everyone would be happy and thriving. Money would be coming out of the trees. Uh, sunshine every day. Trump
Yes.
would make sure no national disasters, not okay,
Like
no natural
this is what I
disaster,
don't get.
no tornadoes, no
how do you
tsunamis.
argue against these claims? Like I don't see how you could say like who would
I
not
am
want to
going
be
to
who's not for
personally
that?
stop all of the wildfires in
Yeah.
California. Nobody will burn ever again. Ellen DeGeneres is safe under my watch.
Again,
Um,
Obama drone bombed women and children and got a Nobel Peace Prize. This man's over here trying to save us all, and he's just getting shit on.
um, let's see the yeah. Oh, now this is another thing. He says some other world leader. I forgot who it was. I should have wrote down the name, but some world leader. He goes. They miss me. Let me see some world. This world leader says they want Trump. They need Trump. They want Trump. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's great that other world leaders want you, Trump. That's not how America works. We have our own democracy and thing. It's not the point here that other world leaders like you and want you to be our forever president. Um,
Listen, if he's an easy guy to work with, I mean, why not?
Easy guy to work with.
Yeah.
Dude, I think they went through too, like he went through more cabinet members and like all this other, and like almost none of them support him in this
That's right.
election.
You
So
want to
like,
know what that's called?
uh,
It's called draining the swamp.
oh no.
Yep, it's getting rid of the deep state, sir. Have you
Draining
heard of
the
the deep
swamp,
state?
drain everybody.
That's what he's
Uh,
doing. Getting rid of everybody who's stupid and who's an
no,
idiot.
he drains the people that he don't that start to disagree with him or give him pushback on things that he doesn't like pushback on.
Yeah, 'cause that's how he knows that they're deep
Like
state
all the
minors.
Republicans about the election or the insurrection or this or the that or
That's
or the
I
criminal
don't
charges or
I
the
don't know why you wouldn't want people on your side. You got to be somewhat echo chambery here. You that are like
that's
minded trying to
true.
get
That's
stuff
true.
done.
That's another thing. Very much the same with what Kamala does and stuff. It was a very of course Sean Hannity's not going to throw hardball questions at Trump. He
No.
sucked his dick half of the time. It was great. I've been interviewing you since 2016. I've been following you since you got into the political sphere.
Yeah.
Uh, him. Let's see. I did agree with one thing.
Oh
In
boy.
that he called out Kamala on, and I agree with him. I think Kamala, and I think we just kind of all need to get past the thing of like the political correctness. We're not going to say extremist Islam or Muslim terrorists when they are that. We let's call them by what they are. If they
Yeah.
are that, if they are any type of extremist cult religion, blah blah blah.
I
If
see.
it's illegals now, this is one thing too that needs to be separate. If it's illegals committing crimes, yeah, they're criminals. They're illegal criminals under a. However, being an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal charge, and that's been around for a little bit under the USJ. It is a civil charge, and it is a civil, turns into a civil case and all these types of things. However, until they like actually, like even though they're here illegally, commit a crime here in the states and do that type of thing, they're not considered criminal. It's a civil case and stuff. So when Kamala says, undocumented immigrants are not criminals, she's not wrong. They are not considered criminals. They are considered a civil case until they commit a criminal act or something here, or that type of stuff. So
which I
It's
would
one
say
thing.
that there's quite a bit of them doing so. I think once
There
they're out
probably
doing
is. There
doing
probably
what
is.
do you mean there probably is?
There
There's
probably is.
poor girls
Well,
getting beaten and
that's another
raped
thing.
and
We got this whole
stabbed to
thing now
death.
with the media, which I don't know, like apartments being taken over in color, which has been debunked. Like it's just so that's one of those things that they're pulling out all the stops now to just kind of get everybody riled up and freaked out and do all this over exaggeration. I think it's hilarious that you see all these stories. Gains have taken over the apartments and all that, and then and it was the funniest part about it was to me it was on X too. So Elon's always like X, where you get the real truth. Don't believe the main media and all this other stuff and Fox News. And you got on X these investigative journalists going and posting their videos on X, going to the apartments, doing all this, and no, there's no gains. No, it's a slumlord that's kind of taken away. We've been having this issue and stuff, but yeah, no gains. We're chilling. Everybody's fine. Like everybody's living. The main issue is a slumlord that's kind of taken over a sect of the apartment and stuff, but it's not a Venezuelan gang or any of this other type of stuff, illegals um, and there's a whole detailed thing about it you can find online where they go into the history of how it happened and what's going on and all that type of stuff. And so it's just weird. It's like, again, like I said, they're pulling out all the stops. Yeah, nothing would have happened under Trump. Trump, of course, says he knows nuclear better than anybody because his uncle went to MIT. Um, so very smart family. If somebody goes to MIT in your family, is Trump's case. But yeah, just a lot of again with Trump over exaggeration and rhetoric and stuff, and just I'm gonna save the world. I'm like this world savior, and everything's gonna be fine. And it's just a lot of the same from him too, where I'm just and he's proven different because he's been in office. You're like I just don't know with him. He honestly to me kind of feels like he's losing it a bit too. I don't know if he's a little nervous. I don't know, but some of the things he's been saying recently, I'm like, what are you saying, dude? Like this is a stretch for you. Like I, they're just out there. Some of those things. So, but yeah, that pretty much covers my thoughts on the Trump town hall. It was about 30 minutes, so nothing too late, crazy or long. Oh, they of course mentioned the Waltzes.
Alright.
Trump said Tim Waltz's brother and his entire family. In fact, a very nice family, very good looking family. I saw the picture. They endorsed me. First of all, it's not his immediate family besides Waltz's brother. And just like on Trump's side, Trump's definitely got some family that does not support him and is voting for Harris and yada yada and blah blah blah. So obviously that's going to happen on both sides. I don't care what their families think, or whatever. Right? It's yeah. So that's that's my thoughts on that. Anything on the Trump hall?
It sounds about right. Sounds about the same that he's been basically talking about then for the last couple weeks again. Um, more credit to him. He's as far as interviews and being out there and doing his stuff. He's far outweighed everything that she's done. So, um, like I said, I'm excited for the debate. So that's all we can look forward to now is seeing what
Yeah.
goes on there. It should be entertaining. Um, hopefully I think if he again conducts himself the same way he did in the last debate against Joe Biden and puts a little bit of pressure on her, picks his spots when to make his little comments or his little ribs at certain times when she's talking about something or tying it into how she might have, failed at it, whatever it is, whatever he could do. I think if he does that and she again just comes out with this joyful drivel moving forward with no clear actual plan
Joy.
and no policy whatsoever
Or should I
aside
do
from
the Oprah? Joy.
Exactly. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
if they
I
got
got
no
that's a
spirit
clip I
flames,
gotta get for here. Get her DNC
well,
clip of doing that.
yeah, she's gonna be in a lot of trouble, I think.
Yeah.
Again, because like you said, that's only gonna take you so far, and I don't think you can hold the momentum just on that from now until November
Yes.
to secure enough votes
Well,
to
it's
or
gonna
to get the
depend.
battle states, anyways, because that's what it's all gonna come down to.
I think it's gonna depend on the debate. Big thing. So if she kills it at the debate, yeah, that's it. I think that'll take you till the end of November. Now you got
Sure,
October to deal with.
sure. She doesn't have to
Um,
do anything after that. Then no.
yeah. So we're seeing it's gonna be this debate. Yeah, it hinges a lot on it. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see kind of where it goes from here and stuff. I did want to address one of the messages you sent me, sir, that I had an issue with that I had to bring up here on stream. Um,
Which one?
and that is, you sent me a tweet of Tim Walks having a good old milkshake, and
I'll tell you why that upset me. Yes.
the direct quote, mind you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'll never trust a man who eats a fucking milkshake like it's ice cream because he was eating it with the he
Yeah,
was
it's a milkshake. Drink that shit, you son of a
bro,
bitch.
I do the same thing. Hell yeah, take that,
See,
especially if there's whipped
I don't
cream and
trust you
shit.
then.
Uh,
No, it's a milkshake. You drink it. You drink it. I know when you eat the
it's
milkshake,
too cold to drink
the only
in the
time it's
beginning. You have
acceptable
to
to
wait
eat
till
the
it
milkshake.
melts.
No, 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 no. The only time it is 100% acceptable to eat any type of a milkshake is when you're actually at like said restaurant getting a real milkshake that comes in the steel cup and they give it to you and you have like the ass end of it. Then you
I
can
do it there
scoop that
too.
shit out. Yeah,
I
that's
do it
fine.
there too.
But just sit there and like, well, let me get a so and so milkshake and then a spoon. What a loser. What a loser. An absolute like I just that is so like that's what I mean. He's not fooling me. I'm inclined to believe
He's not
um
fooling
I'm inclined to believe his not immediate family that
me.
that there is something weird about this guy because there is. He's an exaggerator with apparently bad grammar according to his wife. Doesn't
Hey,
can't get
listen, he
his
was the
story
football
straight.
coach, okay,
Not
not the
only that,
English teacher.
Megan Kelly. That's right. I did watch some of that. Megan Kelly had like 5 6 guys who were part of his crew and with him in the National Guard there that came out against him as well. You'll have to
Interesting.
look that up. That was pretty. Yes, it was pretty interesting. They spent an hour just shitting on him. So
Dear Lord.
you could definitely yes. So this Midwestern huckster guy, he isn't huckstering me by any means. I'm not falling for it. I'm not. He's coming off to me like he's like a nicer version of Dick Cheney. Like he seems like a sweet old man. He's got like the Biden sweetness, but at the same time he's gonna shoot you in the fucking face with birdshot while you're
Dear
quail
Lord.
hunting if you disagree with him.
Yeah, there's some. I'm curious. I'll have to check that out. Um.
I think he beats his mentally challenged son as well.
Oh my God, Bob. Um.
This is how misinformation starts, folks. Ready?
Here's how it goes. Um. So yeah. Real quickly before we get into the final topic here, obviously, kind of big deal. Some commentators we talked a little bit about being paid by
Oh
the
yes, yes,
Russians.
yes.
Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, Dave
Tim
Rubin,
Pool. Yep.
a couple others.
Now, have they been? I know Tim Pool came out with his quote and said that if these allegations are true, then they were victims as well.
Correct. Yeah, they were
So
unaware
yeah, that they were
that
unaware
this.
and that yeah they were not directly
However,
involved in whatever
so
these dealings were here.
at the
So
same time, they still took $100 million and didn't go. Where'd this come from? you know.
sure.
So there's obviously some questions I think to be answered. I think somebody made a point of
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
well, if they didn't like they already supported Trump and all that, like they were did that hundred. I think that the point is, did the $100 million change what what they were talking about, what they were saying, and all that time? Did it influence their um
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Their opinion
yeah
or yeah,
whatever they're commentating or that type of stuff?
yes.
And so. Yeah,
Yeah.
but still a lot of questions. But I did find it very interesting that those guys um,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's
ended up in there. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. We'll be following that.
well, absolutely. I mean, from an ethical standpoint, there, I mean, that's obviously bad.
Yeah,
And like I was telling you earlier, there seems to be a lot of this type of stuff going on. As here in my home state of New York, our governor Kathy Hochul, one of her aides or assistants, just had charges brought up against her for being a Chinese government asset or spy, basically somewhat in the same way I think, like
good
that,
lord,
where
she
she
accepted
took a
money from
she
yeah,
accepted money, and when she accepted the money, she when she did that, she was supposed to, I think, a report that she took money from the Chinese Communist Party, and then that would have made her like a some sort of agent of theirs. So it would have, I would assume, disqualified her from the job that she had because she's
yeah,
been in like two or three administrations here in New York for the governor. So
interesting.
yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of weirdness going on here. Again, it's election season, so of course this is all going to happen. It's probably going to get worse as we get closer, I'm sure. Like we talked about earlier, um, it's like 2 days into the school season, we've already got our first school shooting. So we've already got
It's
the next
insane.
Democratic talking point for about the next. This will ride for about a good month.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's insane. We already have that.
this will be brought up in the debate, no doubt, no doubt about it. So we'll have to see what comes of that, as well as more information comes out about that. Um, and yeah, again, everything is just riding on this debate here, man, and it's going to be very interesting to see which side comes out relatively on top, so to speak, in this debate, and how people feel about it. Because no matter what happens, whoever has the bad performance, each side's going to come out riding for them. So, but
Yeah,
once you sift through all the bullshit and really look at what's being said, or hopefully not in Kamala's case, what's not being said, because like I keep saying, she really needs to do something here.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah, she needs to do something. I mean, hopefully it's probably going to be at the debate at this point, or if not, what then I'll start to get concerned and worried. But
mhm,
we'll
yeah,
see with that. It's kind of ended. Another interesting thing I found this week. Tucker Carlson, who I've always had some issues with, but at least he came out and said, I don't research, or I kind of endorse misinformation." So at least for the most part, I think by now people know he's not like some sort of factual,
hmm.
you know,
He's
um,
I'd say
interview.
he's like a what would you call it? He's not like a Joe Rogan, but he's trying to be like a Joe Rogan, where he'll talk to anybody
Right.
and entertain
Certain idea. Yeah, yeah. Well,
ideas
and he does
from all
get
of them.
mixed. Yeah, yeah. Um, but now he did have Jason Aldean. Obviously, I live in Vegas. Jason Aldean was performing at the route. I want to say Route 66 or whatever festival. That was the largest mass shooting in history and stuff, or in American history. And so my interest, obviously, I was interested. I live here and stuff. It was a big thing. I remember a lot of it being around for it and stuff, and I found it interesting. Some of the things Tucker said, and Jason too. Jason, I always felt afterwards, just kind of very kind of tone deaf. During the interview, he talked about like it affected them obviously because they couldn't perform and they had to leave
Sure,
their stuff there for the FBI, so they couldn't do like it. Just seemed just like very kind of like, if I'm being honest, Jason Aldean was the safest person there.
sure, yeah. He's
He
gonna have
was
security and all
he
that.
was the
Absolutely,
safest. He was exactly. He had security. They took him backstage where he was completely out of
yeah.
view of fight. Then they took him to his bus where he was even safer.
So
You know,
was he just I was assuming so did this end up being like a discussion that led into like any sort of gun control talk, or was he just like, oh, was he just I was a victim there too that day, even though I wasn't.
Well, yeah, not really. He's like, well, I got back to my bus, so we had things on the bus to defend ourselves. It's obviously like he had his guns and stuff, but like, um, yeah, just kind of like again, like you were one of the safest people there, dude. Like, and a lot of people really did. Hundreds of people were shot. Um, I think like 60 people died. It was horrible. It was horrific. And so I just always felt he was kind of tone deaf about it. Then he talked about how Lauren Michaels invited him onto SNL that week to perform and do a cold open, and how it was a really rough week for him too because his idol Tom Petty had died. So
Okay.
he did SNL to tribute Tom Petty and
Right.
like mention the Vegas shooting thing. Again, very weird. He hasn't. This is the most he's talked about it in an interview in all these years
Yeah.
since it's happened.
I mean,
Um,
well, when it comes to stuff like that, yeah, this is why I don't think, obviously he was there, so okay, he has like some stake in it because he was present,
right,
but like when it
and
comes
I
to stuff like
understand
this,
too. Like there's certain things like he talked about. Like it was his show. Not what not. It wasn't even his show. It was a
yeah.
festival. He was the headliner and stuff. But
Yeah, but even still, like, what was it? Was he feels guilty? Is that
yeah,
what he said?
yeah. I
Why?
said of course
Did
it
he
feels
send the guy up there? Did he
a,
give the guy all
a
the
sense of
guns?
guilt, because people went to his show and and he did
Well,
go
then
see
stop.
people in the
Okay,
hospital,
perfect.
and
Stop playing then. I don't know what.
right,
Like,
yeah. I
this is
mean,
kind of frustrating to me because I don't get what his point. What was his like point that of talking about this then?
I don't know. Well, Tucker brought it up, obviously,
Oh,
Tucker,
okay.
and but I thought that was weird. Tucker made it interesting. I think it's interesting that a lot of things were said, and most people there were Trump supporters, if not all the people there, which is completely just untrue. Um, First of all, the country at that time hadn't been as divided into the whole political scene as it was. It was 2017. And then not only that, I know plenty of people who were liberal and stuff. It was a festival. It was a route
See,
festival, so it was multiple country performers, multiple all these other things and stuff. I wouldn't even say it was a mainly conservative group. It was probably 50-50 or like yeah.
so
There's a lot of
was he trying to like make it political in a sense? Like, oh,
I
we
think
were
yeah,
shooting
Tucker,
at the
yeah,
Trumpies. He saw them
yeah.
all down there.
Something or because then they go on to talk about how like oh well we still don't really know why or what. Well, of course we
Oh
don't
yeah,
know why because homeboy was shot to death
yeah, exactly.
once the police got in there. We're not taking him in for questioning here. We're like uh, as far as what we know and stuff, he had some mental issues. He lost a lot of money. He broke down. He had been losing a lot of money at casinos and stuff. Um,
That'll do it.
yeah, he kind of broke down and stuff. Like it did seem planned, but for the most part, I think we know it was a disgruntled gambler with mental issues, um, who frequented Vegas many times over the years. Was well known amongst because he had won big many times before, and he'd spent all of it, and stuff. So he was that's the other thing too. They wonder, well, why was he allowed to do all this and stuff. He frequented these casinos over the years many times and stuff. They knew of him. They knew he was going to spend money, so of
Was the
course they treated
was
him
the
well.
FBI or anybody aware of him? Was he on a list already that
No,
they didn't
I
think was viable?
nope. Nope, I think he was. I can't remember if he was ex-military or not.
Oh,
Um, but again, like some mental issues. Started having like a really bad gambling streak loss
sure.
towards the end, like really bad. Like
To me, then, see, that sounds like a
yeah,
VA. That's like a VA failure.
yeah, something like that. Yeah. So from everything that I kind of took from it, it was a very unwell man that was pushed over the edge by something like that. Um, which is believable. We've seen that happen before, especially if he was in the military and had some sort of whatever PTSD or so. Yeah, just kind of a lot of misinformation between the two of them that I was like shocked, and a little a little upset because again it does hit close to home. I know people. I know a couple friends that were shot in the leg and shot in the back, that actually took bullets and stuff, and it was a horrific, just a absolutely horrible thing. And I know we want to lean towards conspiracies and wonderments and all that, but at the same time, I think there are just some really fucked up evil people in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes it takes something like that to break them and stuff. I saw another really interesting thing on Facebook of this doctor who was treating this guy in the hospital who was dying. He's at the on his deathbed, basically. And I forgot how they got into it. But the guy goes, the patient goes, no, I'm happy to be here. I like children, and I've
Yeah.
never acted on it my entire life. I made it basically. I made it to the, and the guy thought it was a joke. He laughed. He was like, oh, he goes, no, I'm being serious. I told my parents, when I was younger, they told the whole family. They outcasted me. I went and lived on my own. I never acted on it. Always happened. He's like, I'm happy. I'm being relieved. So like, there's some fucked up people in the world like that. It
Yeah.
just
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I was kind of thinking that you were kind of that's where I thought you were going with that was like maybe he
yeah,
was
yeah.
relating that to something. I guess obviously if that was like yesterday or a couple days
Well, yeah,
ago,
it's just that
it
guy
happened prior
obviously
to.
held back on it, but he was still
Oh,
still
sure.
fucked up in the head, didn't
Oh, no,
commit the
no,
crime and stuff. But
no.
like, that's what I'm saying with somebody like this guy in the Vegas shooter and stuff. He could have had these weird thoughts or ideas or whatever, and it was just that
Absolutely.
one thing of I just lost,
Oh, yeah.
whatever, $50,000,
Yeah. It's Michael Douglas and falling down.
yeah,
These
yeah.
things happen.
I want
You know what I mean?
breakfast, Bob. I
And
want
yeah,
breakfast.
exactly. And that's really all it takes, especially nowadays. And again, I think, especially if that guy, especially if he was the Vegas guy, if he was a vet that was troubled or something. Again, like I said,
Right.
that to me, that's definitely a failure of the VA and stuff like that. And that's, I like to think, as far as Trump's stances on veterans and stuff like that. I mean, you know, again, when it comes to the Democrats, we sent the amount of money that we sent to the Ukraine, the amount of money and funds and equip, like we could have used all of that and housed probably every
Oh, he
homeless
was
vet.
not a veteran. He was not a veteran. That
Okay,
was my bad. Yeah.
okay, well then doubly fine. All right, well fuck him then. Okay, I don't feel.
He was
Yeah,
a real estate investor, property
all
manager,
right.
and he liked
Either way,
money. This guy liked money.
sure.
He liked money
And he got in obviously with the gambling and
and
fucked off
gambler.
his money.
Yes.
Yeah, so even still, but and there's see, there's something like that though. There's no law or regulation or policy or sign or anything that you can do to prevent that guy from doing that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Obviously, I would assume all, pardon me, all the
Oh, you're good.
ooh, pardon me, my God, all the
I feel
guns
it.
and stuff he had, obviously, I'm sure weren't legal there.
Well, Nevada does have some very loose gun
Do they?
laws.
They're loose with the
Very,
gun
very
laws.
loose. Very, very loose. Nevada, I think is probably like we're close to Utah
Oh,
in
okay.
our looseness
Oh, okay.
of now. Things did change a bit after the shooting, for sure.
Sure.
But we still do.
But
We're still pretty loose. We still have the gun show. You can go buy a gun
yeah,
with pretty much no license, no nothing.
awesome. It's the way it should be, anyways. But that's for a different topic. But I mean, even still, like what I'm trying to think of what could have been done to prevent something like that. because that's a spur of the
Um,
moment.
well, I think the biggest thing was this was the biggest thing. Uh, and the blame, and they did get sued. They did pay out to the victims and stuff. It was a big deal. Biggest thing was the casino. The casino. There should have been some um, suspicion, some red flags raised with the amount of suitcases he was having brought up to his room. Now he was a little strategic with it in that he was doing it like I think like once a day. He'd
Sure.
go and bring like 10 bags, but he'd have
Okay.
them. The bellboys would bring load it up into the cart and bring it up. These 10 suitcases for one guy every night, and so that was the big thing on the casino was that
Okay.
they didn't red flag that they didn't do it
Sure.
because they were thinking money. This guy is he
Well,
was staying in this he was
absolutely.
staying in a suite. He was gambling every night. He was going to the restaurant. He was basically using the last of his money. He was going to all the high end restaurants and doing all this and being a very good patron. Right? Of course, again here in Vegas, the casino treats you like royalty
Well,
if
yeah,
you
if you if
you
you're
know
dropping dough, sure, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
okay, so well, then I guess I mean, aside from them, I mean, this is my whole thing, especially with stuff like this, and again, because we just had a school shooting
Right.
yesterday. Um, and I don't know all the information on that, so I don't know where they got the gun, whatever the case may be, you know. All I know is that I think the kid who did it was around, I think they said like school age, so maybe
Yeah,
high
was he like
school, teenager,
14?
yeah,
14 or
something like
15? Yeah.
that. So probably a
Jeez.
parent's gun or something like that. So again, you
Right.
want you want to talk about letting the parents be liable if it was a gun that wasn't locked up,
Yep.
then yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I'll take that all day. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't myself. I don't get too hung up on the type of gun and stuff like that.
Right.
Because again, if somebody I think wants, you can ban ARs, you can ban, here, like here in New York State, we have to if you get an AR-15, it has to be one that's modded specifically to have
Right.
like a built-in clip that only holds, built-in magazine that only holds X amount of
Certainly.
bullets because it can't
Yeah.
have X amount of bullets in your magazine anymore, and that's fine, whatever. But you know, but if I'm a sick person or I'm a criminal, be it a criminal from here, either a gang that's from here, or you see what's going on in places like Chicago and in Detroit, or if um, the supposed Venezuela gangs running around with AK-47s at apartment buildings. Regardless, if I'm not abiding, you know, by the law, or and I'm sure that I have connections and ways if I really want a certain gun to find it and buy it.
Sure. Exactly.
Like I said, I'm all for having the discussion about, if if this kid had, took his dad or his mom's gun because they just, leave it, tilted next to the fucking, end table in the bedroom. Yeah, I'm all for that. They should be just as liable as the person is who pulls the trigger. Again, if it's somewhere he, broke in or stole a key, then, again, I think that's a different conversation to put more full of the blame on him. Again, I think the parents would still share some of the blame because how do you allow your shit to be jacked by your kid? And again, it's a gun. Everybody's got to have responsibility and make sure you're safely handling it. And obviously, there's penalties and things when you don't. Um, but I guess, I guess if I'm taking like a right position on it, I have a problem with the whole how because it's again it's just this happens, it's just problem. Now everybody's reacting, oh my god, kids, and then solution is immediately, well, we need to ban ARs, we need to ban this, we need to, this high capacity no can, and again, you know, I understand both sides of people's arguments where and I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment because without that, then you don't have the First.
Yeah.
And that's your only way to defend the first. And I think people, for the most part, obviously, I'm not saying people should be able to, you know, we should be able to own, F-16s like the Army does and fly around. But In the event, however minuscule or unlikely, that for some reason our government did decide, Donald Trump decides to become a dictator,
Mhm.
are you going to feel comfortable going up against whatever people that do stand with him with your minuscule little five
My
shot gun
pistol,
and your
my
pistol?
pistol, bro. I can go.
Yeah.
Off. Did you see me in Call of Duty? I'll destroy with a pistol. Uh, or a
But
shot,
I,
or a shotgun.
and
Dude, bro, you'll see me in real
listen,
life, like in Call of Duty, running up to
sure,
people straight in their face, bam,
it's only going to
bam,
get you so far.
bam.
There's no real life omni movement, unfortunately. So there's no 360 diving across the fucking map while you're spinning and shotgunning people. But I mean, my point is, no matter how ridiculous that scenario is,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
how
no,
that is the whole intention. And again, um,
well, I think certain things. Look, whether it's a regulation on, like you said, magazines, or something. There needs to be regulations.
even still
There
though,
has to be regulations because at some point, it's just gotten to this place where it's so bad. It's so
well, sure,
we
it's
can't.
bad,
It's
but
not, we have to find the middle ground of. Unfortunately,
why do we not
the
have
world has changed. Right when they wrote that amendment, when that was made and stuff, we didn't have AR-15s and
no, but
all
people
these
were still allowed
crazy
to own
weapons.
cannons because that was the
And
technology at the time.
yeah, but also
If
like
they understood that,
you're not gonna do like again the amount of time it loads to load a cannon and do all these type of
still,
things. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you can go down, you can get these whatever the 45 magazine, bullet magazines, go down and yeah, literally mow people down. Defense who are
you
defenseless with
can,
no,
you
you
absolutely
know.
can. But
Whereas okay, if there's a ban or not a ban, but a regulation on 15, okay, we're still, unfortunately, people are still dying, but we just maybe saved, you know, however 30 lives because that dude now has to reload and take on whoever, whatever, like whatever these types of things are, or again, the extensive background checks. Um, just like I think, yeah, there needs to be some sort of regulation.
sure, I mean, there
I
definitely
don't
has to
see
be a
the need
conversation. I
I
just
think you
don't
can
think.
have an AR, but I don't see the need for it to be an automatic weapon.
Well, nobody's allowed to have automatic weapons as it is. Nobody is. That's
Well, you can,
automatic,
you can.
fully
But
automatic weapons are against the law. You can't have
let's
an AK-47 fully automatic. We're only allowed semis. I'm telling you.
but you can mod it to make it
But that
automatic,
does
right?
what with like a bump stock or sitting there like I guess if you sure if you want to say that, which bump stocks I'm pretty sure either were banned and then either Trump unbanned it, but even still it hasn't reduced the rate. It hasn't prevented any. It hasn't done anything with that.
Let's see.
And again, I think when you
So
just keep
yes,
doing
yes, you can own a fully automatic weapon in the United States if you meet certain requirements.
which nobody does.
Um,
Yeah. That's like here in New York State where they tell you, yeah, sure, you could get a concealed carry license. And
well, again, like out here, it's a lot loose. Like, and I know Utah is the most loose.
well, listen,
Utah, you can probably
what would
get
it
it.
take if we wanted to buy a fully automatic weapon? What would it take? What are the criteria? If
Let's
we're doing
see,
it legally, again, legally.
going to the black market.
Because again,
Okay.
I highly doubt the average person meets any of this criteria.
You can own a fully automatic weapon. Let's see. Country, it's perfectly legal for a law-abiding citizen
Because
to
how many
possess a machine gun.
require
Sometimes,
some sort of licensing and
let's see. But is for someone to get a federal firearms license or
yeah,
FFL.
yeah,
Um,
that's not happening.
okay, so depending on the type of FFL, if the FFL holder becomes a special occupational taxpayer, the FFL holder can purchase and sell machine guns regardless of when they were made. More on this below, and they can even legally make their own machine guns or lawfully convert current firearms into full autos. Um, Even without an FFL, a private citizen can still lawfully own a true machine gun if certain conditions are met. However, machine guns from non-FFLs are extremely expensive as the available supply is limited. As an FFL, you can buy a brand new machine gun for less than $2,000 and have it transferred to you in a few days. As a private citizen, you can only buy an old machine gun, only 35 years old, and it'll likely cost north of $15,000. And you'll have to wait around a year for the transfer.
Yeah.
But
So
still, you
now here's my thing.
can't get machine guns.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, but how many and gang members are you think are applying for these FFLs
Right,
and
right,
getting
right.
them and then paying? Yeah. So again, it's not preventing anything. It's not preventing them. There's 300. There's some 300 million guns in this country. I mean, the only thing that happened, at some point, somebody's going to call for a gun ban,
Right.
total, because
Well, I think
that
I think what it will do though is take care of, or at least help with, again, the in at home stuff. Okay, yeah, sure, we've got guns coming across the border, we've got gangs and all these
maybe,
other types of things, absolutely.
maybe,
But
but
like,
I
let's
don't
be
think
honest, you look at a lot of the school shootings, a lot of the mass shootings, all that they're here, they're American citizens, they're
sure,
whatever, like they've been all race, shape, and size, gender, like it's,
sure.
but they
Absolutely, but I
are
think
American
I think that
citizens. They
raises far
are,
more questions, and I think that before you even get to the gun issue, and that's the
yeah,
conversations that aren't having. It's a mental health issue. We got to look at these people. What's
sure.
wrong with these people? That's the thing. I think way before we even get to, well, he had the favorite gun of the. So what? Who cares? Nobody cares
Right.
about it. Doesn't matter. I don't think what matters is what the people are doing. I keep seeing, this happens, and then, all you can see, it's the fucking gun. No, it isn't. The guns didn't do it. Somebody picked up a
Well,
gun
it's
and did it.
yeah,
And I think
exactly. The
that's the
gun
thing.
didn't do it,
And,
but at the same time, the
yeah.
access to the gun didn't help. And
And I
so,
guess
like,
that
absolutely,
it all
the
depends
gun
on what
didn't.
the access was. If he's 14, he obviously
Right.
he didn't go out and buy this gun, so it
Yeah.
wasn't his. So he obviously stole it. And I guess again, I would have to know how he got the access to it to begin with.
Sure. 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 But
Whether
in the
he
case
gained
of like
access
somebody like
himself
Stephen
or it was
Paddock,
just negligence.
he went and got the guns, over time, got bump stocks, did that whole
Sure.
thing, modded them himself, did all that, like, so again, it
Huh.
wasn't, sure, it wasn't the gun, but yeah, if he hadn't
And
had
he went through
access to those
and see
types
he
of
and he
things,
went through
if
the
he
yeah,
had
but he
been,
went through the proper channels though, right?
yeah, for the most part, yeah,
Again, the system didn't fail.
I
The
believe
system
so,
worked.
yeah. Well,
Again, what
again, it's what this was before. He didn't go. So, like, this was
and
before background checks. There was no
oh
background check.
sure,
He
but
he
even
could
think
just
about it.
reload.
Even let's say even if you had restrictions like he has, like we have here, where it's magazines are capped and stuff like that, with the
Mhm.
amount of so what would it matter? So
Well, it
instead
definitely
of
would have helped.
having
Oh
one,
yeah, because that's the thing.
how would it have
He
helped?
had
Instead of having one gun with 30 rounds, he'd have
well
10 guns with with 10 rounds each, shooting
because he
one, just
still
dropping and picking up
because
another.
that whole time that I think it was about 25 minutes that he was shooting. Yeah, that's what was slowing it down. Was he had to reload? I think there were about 45 or
Yes.
35 rounds
So
per.
think about it.
He had two, so
So
two
if I have
on like a stand or whatever. But
exactly,
yeah, if you're
if
having
I
to
got
do that
10
in that
guns,
yeah, but you're having to do that. You're stopping even more. Like, yeah, definitely. If
I'm
that had
literally
happened,
just dropping and picking up. That's quicker than
he
reloading.
I don't. Well, no, because he's still got to get it on the stand. Because he wasn't even doing that. He had the guns. He had like a bunch of guns. Just what I don't even know what the hell he was going to do with all of those. Like, but he had
Yeah.
the two guns that he was using were on a stand, and he had the magazines, set up and stuff, and he was reloading them. So, um, yeah, 35 compared to 10 with the amount of yeah, probably would have helped a little bit. Um, it's still,
Well,
again, people would have still died. It would have still
he
been
still had a
terrible. But
plan, and I think he still would have executed it either way.
yeah, he still, like I said, it still would have been executed, but I think it would have been a little bit harder,
What
maybe
do,
less people.
I guess my
But
question is, I guess, well, I mean, sure, is that better? Realistically, yeah, less people. So instead of like 19, 9 get killed. Is that really?
right,
That's really. We're gonna say that's
I
better
mean,
though. That's.
listen, I think if you can prevent one less life at this point, It's getting to that point where it's just so crazy with
Well,
these
sure,
guns and
but if
people
you, but
using
again,
them in
it's
ways
simple.
that are.
Like, yeah, but again, I think the biggest problem, especially with the schools, is you don't have any of the gun because there's no guns allowed in the school. But that again isn't
Well,
preventing
what
somebody
is it
with
now?
a gun.
This school, I believe I did see this, did have security and officers
Armed,
on. Yes, armed
and where were
officers.
they?
Let's see here. I don't even know. Like, again,
Do
I
you
don't
have,
know any of the
is
details.
this another situation like the other school where they just waited for 40 minutes while the guy was in there having his way
Let's
because they
see
were
here.
all whatever? Because again, if you ask me, this is that would have been that's my solution. I've been saying it forever, especially when, and I'm not talking about you know unemployed vets who are unstable and have deep issues, but if you have stable vets who are having a rough time finding a job or gaining employment, you're telling me a vet who sacrificed X amount of years over in a desert for us wouldn't stand guard at a school, from 9 o'clock, making sure nobody messes around, and when without hesitation do what they had to do if somebody did.
Hmm.
I think that
Um,
would be a beautiful program to help veterans out and to help children.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, that would any type of program to help them out in that type of way.
Mhm. But
Um,
nobody wants
let
to
me
have
see.
that discussion because even though the kids are going in there, go, oh my God, they're getting killed by guns. It's just, well, we got to get rid of the guns instead of, well, if somebody, if you have dedicated people, like that's why I want to know about these guys here, um, like Dental. I don't mean some 300-pound fat ass who has a security job working in the school, sitting there going, "You're late." You know what I mean? Glorified fucking truancy officer. I mean a real, somebody who understands situations like this, who's equipped, who has some sort of training besides they took an online course.
Yeah. So it was a 14-year-old student. Um,
Okay, so
let's
that's confirmed
see.
of that school.
Yes.
So is this another like Columbine type of stuff like that? And then this was his retaliation.
He's in custody. 14-year-old student of the school.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Four
The gun
people were
crime.
killed,
Right.
9 others. Yeah. Uh, 4 people killed, 9 hospitalized and injured. 2 teachers were killed and 2 students. Um, the adults were both math teachers and a football coach. Um, let's
So he was
see.
failing math.
Gray will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. Obviously.
Absolutely.
Gray was questioned by enforcement last year regarding several anonymous tips about online threats to commit a school shooting at an unidentified location and
See.
time. At the time, there was no probable cause for arrest.
So
Wow.
it's a systematic failure. So that's not even, see
Yeah,
again. Now it's not even a gun issue to me right now anymore.
right.
So they had some sort of advanced knowledge that, hey, this guy's kind of fucked.
Okay, so this is what happened. Sheriff's Department received the first reports of the shooting around 10:20. Said the suspect shooter left the classroom at the beginning of their Algebra 1 class around 9:45. When he turned near the end of class, he knocked to get back in. Another student went to open the door. Relay said that student had noticed the gun and didn't open the door. She said the shooter went to the classroom next door and opened fire. The sheriff's department received law enforcement arrived shortly after those calls, in addition to 2 school resource officers assigned to Apache High School. So those are the on campus security.
So
A resource
glorified
officer,
truancy officer.
yes, a resource officer confronted the shooter, who immediately surrendered to the deputy and was taken into custody. When the shooting happened, all
Does it
schools in
say
the
if
district were
they're
placed.
armed by any?
They are.
Uh,
Yes, they are. Yeah,
okay,
they are.
okay.
Um,
Now
gun
you
used
might have said
was
this
an
already, but
AR platform gun,
sure, of course.
AR-15 style rifle.
Yeah, the AR stands for
Alpauci High
Honorable
School had
Identification,
received
by
a
the way.
phone threat earlier in the morning, warning that there would be shootings at 5 schools and that Apache would be the first.
So again, I'm calling foul on the authorities here who had knowledge about something might happen, could have happened. He made
Wow,
obviously made threats. So again,
absolutely
to
insane.
me, this isn't a this here specifically. To me, really isn't that much of a. I mean, there is an issue with a gun, obviously, but
Yeah,
there's more
I mean
to
the
it
main
than
thing.
that.
Well, the main thing is now on the parent. How did the 14-year-old get access to the gun?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care
Yeah,
about the gun at this point. I just yeah. I'm sorry. The parent is involved in this too. They should
well,
yes they
absolutely.
should
That's
go
what
to
it's.
jail.
It definitely sounds like something like that. Yeah,
They should go. The
they
parent,
share
if the
some.
kid's going to jail, the parent should go to jail too because um, 14. First of all, 14 years old. I'm sorry. If I own a gun, my kid doesn't know where it is. There's no way in hell he's gonna know
Yeah, absolutely.
where I keep.
I'm all for
Um,
I'm all for responsible gun ownership. Absolutely, 100% about that because you have to
and
make
if
sure
he
your
does,
shit locked up.
it's in a locked case that he does not know the code to and won't figure it out. Like
Exactly, or can't
it's
find
a
the key or anything like
yeah
that. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you have to
yeah.
be.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm
this is
saying.
just as much as the
I'm
parents' fault as it is
mm,
this
exactly because
this kid's.
here's the thing, and here's my thing. I'm all for responsibility of these things. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm a little more, I guess you could say, lenient when it comes to you know this is gonna I'll be insensitive here and I'll take whatever criticism comes my way for this, but you know what, and I you could say this is a MAGA thing or whatever he wants to say, but um I don't get um all misty eyed and hung up on these symbolic things. You know, unfortunately, in these instances, it always ends up being dead children. And aggravates me more when a politician stands on graves of kids to get a political message out about gun control or whatever the case may be. Um, you know, anytime a kid dies is horrible and sad. I wouldn't wish it
Right.
on anybody. If it happened to me, I'll be the first to tell you, I wouldn't, if, the gun wouldn't bother me of how somebody killed somebody I cared about. And again, I'm from Buffalo. We've had our own mass shootings
Right.
here with the supermarket shooter. So, you know, um, it just, it sucks, like I said, that it has to be kids. But again, I think happens, everybody's so quick to react because it is. It's always, we're
Yeah.
constantly in a state of mind of problem, reaction, solution. And when you do that, there is no thinking about the solution. You're just looking for any answer that you think is going to bring some sort of resolution to the problem that you have in a quick and fast without really giving it much thought and, you know, looking at all the pros and cons of the decision you're hastily making. And
Right.
we do that a lot, and it's usually based around stuff that happens with kids, be it whether it be gun laws or any sort of law. And again, I think that's a type of way that gets people divided because of course you're going to have people once you hear kids the thing's over. Once they hear something happen with kids, it's over. No, it doesn't matter what happened or what it is. It's people get blinders on at that point. And I'm not saying that it closes the door on any sort of real, I think, logical conversation about what the actual problem is and ways to solve it. Because again, we've been going down the same river when it comes to gun control and who bans assault weapons and who doesn't ban assault weapons and who bans it. But obviously, the problem's still happening. And I think until we
Yeah.
actually start having serious conversations about real mental health issues and why these people are doing it, again, like the instance of the Vegas shooter, you have a guy who's just having a string of bad luck, it seems, and one just sets him off. But again, you have millions of people around the country who own guns, multiple guns, who aren't running around shooting up schools or grocery stores.
Right.
Um, and I think, again, I'm a huge proponent of the Second Amendment because that not only guarantee the rest. And I think without it and without sufficient ways to defend those freedoms, we leave ourselves open, no matter who it is, um, for our government to get too too overinflated and run the risk, whether that be on the right or the left. Um, and again, I would always pose the question if everybody is so dead set on thinking Trump is a tyrant and wants to be a dictator, if that is the case, you are going to be real sad when you have no way of defending yourself against that. At the people that
Right.
you know scream to turn over your guns, who aren't the ones that are doing this. For help and protection, and unfortunately, they're not going to be able to help and protect themselves. And so again, if we want to like fall into that rhetoric and it's the end of the world on both sides, I'm not saying run out and go buy guns or anything by that means. You do what you want. Everybody has the right to do whatever, but I do believe in the right to bear arms, and I think
Oh,
that applies no matter what generation you live in or what time period. Again, I'm not advocating for somebody to own a Black Hawk helicopter or a um, I don't even. I agree. We don't need Uzis on the street for no reason. But again, man, I don't get hung up on the magazine capacities and stuff like that. I'd rather talk about the
yeah.
people, what's going on here,
Well, I
why
think
this
that's
is
the thing.
happening.
It's I think that's like I said, that's the conversation. I think it's both. It's the people, and at the same time, it is a regulation on certain things because if we can lessen and get harder for these types of things to happen while still you still get to keep your Second Amendment right, and all that. Because again, all right, so even if that thing with Trump happens, whatever revolt, whatever, there needs to be a revolt. Okay, well, we still all have. There's still hundreds of thousands of us with whatever 10, 15 magazine guns and stuff. That's still plenty enough, I think, to say because again, I think the thing is to stop those people that are going to use these weapons for ill intention from doing the mass harm that they do,
But
which
again,
is
the it
yeah,
just sucks because the only way you stop any of these people is again they have to be would have had to have been in the system as already mentally deficient or some sort of red flag for any of those
right,
purchases to come back when he does background checks. So that's what I mean. If somebody just snaps, there's nothing you could do. And again, criminals don't abide by any of the laws or regulations you put out there, which, well, again, we do have these school shootings and mass shootings happening. Again, a lot of the crime that's happening, that's a lot of people just shooting themselves in the street, like in Chicago. And
right,
again, none of them are, there's no law you're going to put in place that's going to stop them from doing that. And that's the guns, because again, they're not going through legal means. They're not going to gun shows. They're not going to, they're going to somebody
yeah,
in an alleyway, basically. Um,
exactly,
so I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything. Um, but we need to have a real logical look at what we're talking about
yes,
why this is happening because it's not just guns and availability to guns. There's a reason that's making people have these thoughts and do these things that lead to them getting a gun or getting access to a gun and shooting a bunch of people or a bunch of kids. Um, and you need to find the root cause of that before you find the solution, because without the root cause, it's still going to happen. So that's the
yeah,
one thing we don't do here is any sort of root cause analysis. Again, like I said, it's just problem, reaction, solution. And when you do that and you make hasty decisions, they're not always the best. Because again, there's always going to be somebody who gets punished, and usually it's usually us, the little people in this. We're the ones
yeah,
that usually get bit in the ass. And again, whether it's 1776 or 2039, I think people need adequate ways to defend themselves
listen,
from
I
foreign
want
and
my
domestic.
laser pulse rifle, all right,
Exactly.
in Twitter in
Exactly.
2045, all right.
Exactly. I'm not.
Yeah,
We're
no,
not going to
I
be
think
men in
yeah,
blacking this shit with a noisy cricket out here, a little mini bullshit, while everyone's got fucking proton phasers and shit. No, it needs to be somewhat adequate for you to adequately do that. And like I said, it's a broad conversation that has many. many different areas why this is a problem.
Right. Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, and that's the thing too. Okay, even back then, right? You know, the government had way more access to weapons and better weapons and these types of things. So like the government will always, I think, do that. It's the hope that yeah, we don't get a situation where all of a sudden our military now goes with whatever dictator situation or that type of thing. That's when yeah we just all
Sure.
kill each other. That's just over. But uh, but yeah, I do agree with you. It's definitely a conversation, and I think there's points to both sides. And I agree with you too. Like the Second Amendment is incredibly important. We need that. Um, but yeah, I think it does need to be looked at and figured out and talked about. Okay, well,
Hmm.
what's
And
possible here? What
hmm. And
what's
I
the
would never think of any of the amendments the way they are. I mean, I think regardless of what people say, I am of a firm belief, even though it was hundreds of years ago, these men were smarter than we give them credit for. They knew that muskets weren't going to be the only thing around. They knew that
right?
governments, even from back then and even 200 years in the future, could get greedy with it and try and oppress their own people. And to me, the you know, it's to me, it's almost the same rule as comedy. It's either all okay or none of it is.
Yeah,
Because once you start getting flexible on one right, and once you start giving up a little bit of right to feel a sense of security, it's not good, and it's a real slippery slope because that's how you know. Again, it happened with 9/11, and we're still you're still looking at the effects of it. There's still TSA in the airport, and they're still catching nobody, but they're still grabbing your dick every time you want to go somewhere. Nothing but giving you a false sense of security. And I think that's the same thing here with when they say, well, we got to make some sacrifices, just so the kids could be safe. But it's obviously it's not working. None of the sacrifices anybody's making on any level, none of the bans, ban this, none of it's working. And again, like I keep saying, if we don't have a serious conversation about what is actually causing these people to make this decision, have these sort of sick fantasies or whatever the case may be,
yeah.
until we get to
Well, in the
that
case of this
front,
kid, yeah, if he was already questioned and being looked at, and so yeah,
it's
that's absolutely
systematic
it's a
failure
failure of
on a grand
yeah,
scale. On a
absolutely.
grand
I
scale.
definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
And
Um,
again, we seem to hear that quite often about these, who was notified. Same thing happened with the Trump assassination. People
yeah,
are noticing it. People are talking. Right, you know what I mean? But you know, is that not? I think that's even more of an issue, a bigger issue than the guns. That we have people with intelligence about these things prior to these events happening, and they're
not
being
doing
allowed.
yeah,
I'm not saying allowed, but you know what I mean. They're happening without, when it seems like, especially in this case here, it probably could have been prevented.
well, it's a weird thing too. I think it goes into again, crossing your freedoms and stuff. They said they couldn't find probable cause. You can go online and say these things and make these, types of things, but
Yeah, but
um,
you've never been able to you've never go shoot up fight schools. Like if I said that in all sincerity right now, that I have a sincere plan, people should be visiting me, and even if they don't find, guns or something like that, that should be putting me on a watch list. I should be heavily watched. The schools should
right,
be notified. Number two, like everybody should be. I should be a walking red flag. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's to me that would be, and again, so like even though he's 14 and we don't know more of the situation on how he acquired the gun, but in the what if scenario, if he was of age, right then and there, that I would think they would automatically flag you, so that way when you do go to a gun show and they run your background up, yeah, sorry man, you came up as a no sale.
right,
You know what I mean? But
absolutely,
again, him being 14, maybe that's the issue too, because he was so young. You know what I mean? And maybe that's why they don't have probable cause, because okay, he's just making bullshit threats on on whatever, Facebook, whatever he, made these
yeah,
threats
yeah,
with. You know what I'm saying? Bullshit this somehow. But again, it's like I said, there's more to it than just guns bad. That
yeah, absolutely,
we need to have the real conversation about it, because in my opinion, on mental health. And we talk about mental health being such a big thing in this country and how serious we take it. And I would argue to the contrary. It's a good PR thing to say and talk about, but there's no
Yeah, but
real
it's not
action
actually.
to it.
Yes. Oh
Exactly.
yeah,
Because again,
absolutely.
it's just problem, health, reaction. Oh my God, it's an epidemic that's sweeping the country, and solution is, well, let's just talk about it and get rid of the stigma. Okay, well, now what? Now
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
exactly.
stigma and we can talk about it, but now we have, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people affected by this. So we're going all over the place here, but as we're winding down. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy world we live in, man. It really is. It's
Yeah,
crazy,
it's
but
getting wild. The fact
it's
that I didn't even realize that when you mentioned it, like the fact we're only 2 days into school starting, we already have a school shooting and shit. That's
yeah.
just
I'm sure schools all yeah. We're basically like we're fresh into the school season. School's just getting back into session, and obviously, again, should this be happening? No, this shouldn't be. Um, but again, I don't think banning guns or putting super 500 restrictions on it, because again, even if whether it's a gun, knife, or whatever, somebody's gonna get in there and do something.
yeah,
Because when
yeah,
people are sick, they're sick, and if they have a a desire or a motivation or a single focus, um, you know, I don't have any cuckoo rages like that, but even in my own, I get set on something or I'm having issues.
right.
It when you get a single focus like that, yeah, sometimes it's hard to break, and the struggle can be real. And I think that's why it's important that the conversation be had, because I think if once you start getting to the root cause of that and why these people are these mental issues, I think then it becomes easier to solve this problem.
Yeah,
Because again,
I agree. I agree. Mental health absolutely needs to be a big part of the conversation and talk about because
yeah,
I agree. It's not just can't blame the guns on everything but I do think, like I said,
no, you can't.
it's a balance and it's about finding doing whatever research and finding whatever it is that's going to help this situation instead of
Sure,
just allowing it to continue
exactly.
to happen.
And again, the topic in and of itself is divisive, because there's going to be
Yeah.
people, again, like I said, when they hear it involves kids, that's all they need to hear. They're on board
Yeah.
with
Exactly. Yeah.
anything and everything now. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't matter. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
They don't.
Even
Yeah.
if even if it affects them, doesn't affect them, affects 200 million people in this country. You know what I'm saying? Some people will be like that, and that's okay. I can understand that. I can understand that, because everybody's going to have a reaction. So people who are parents, anything like that, you're going to have a reaction.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it it becomes it just becomes another political talking point, and it really is something that goes nowhere. That's just argued over and brought up every 4 year election cycle, which it is. This is always a hot button topic, and it has been for God, since Obama was in office. So
Yeah.
um, it's something that really needs to be looked in depth, and it needs to be taken definitely seriously. And everybody has to realize that even though it is all everybody, mostly everybody, and this is a broad generalized blanket statement, but we're most regular people, no matter what, we're all starting from the same position, and we all agree that dead kids are bad. Kids getting
Yeah.
shot in school is bad. School shooting is bad. We're all on. We're all starting from that viewpoint for the most part. We all know that that's not a good thing, and
Yeah.
nobody wants that. Nobody's advocating for that. Nobody's outright saying yes. I can't stand the rhetoric on the left side when it goes, well, this blood is on the hands of every Republican. No,
Right. Yeah.
this
No.
blood is
Yeah.
specifically on the hands of the person that did this. Okay, we could talk
Yeah.
about all the failures that led up to them being allowed to do that, sure, and that's okay. Um, but I don't blame a group of people for not voting a certain way because they think that it could have prevented this, or it might have saved 18 people that are hurt or injured or shot or killed. And it just, again, until I think everybody's ready to have serious conversations, especially on something like this, and realize that if we all start from the same starting point, we're all in agreement that yeah, this is bad. We know this is bad, and nobody wants this. No
Yeah,
right-minded person wants this. Um, if we start from there, I think instead of starting from, well, you need to get this taken away, and we don't want our rights infringed on, because that's where everybody's just starting from a battle stance.
exactly. Yeah,
Um,
you have to be able
yeah,
to put your guard down on that and be able to
yes,
yeah, I agree. I
yeah,
agree, and it's going to take
it's hard
it's not going to
because it
happen
is
right
chaos.
after the situation. Yeah, exactly,
No, no,
and
no, no, no,
it's going
no.
to take a little bit.
It's
Yeah,
never. Everybody's gonna have a reaction.
yeah,
And this even reminds me of even at the DNC when they brought out the I'm gonna butcher this name, but I believe it was it the Central Park Five?
oh yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah, yeah.
guys
Yep,
who at first were falsely okay. They brought them out there. They were talking. Donald Trump. He advocated for them to be at the demo. Okay,
right.
did he? Absolutely, 100%. Now here with something like that because this is a problem and a reaction and a solution issue. Now, regardless of what you say about the man, he is a father. And not only is he a father, but he is a father of a daughter. So,
Yeah,
in that instance, in that situation, at that moment, everybody would have this reaction who is a father and who has a daughter when they hear that five or however many guys are accused of beating and raping a girl, and they're saying the cops are saying that they're saying they admit to it. I think
right,
anybody at that moment has the right to say, well, yeah, fuck them, bury them under the prison, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Everybody, most likely, because why because we all agree that thing bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And when people do that, yeah, those are bad people. Okay, so now
yeah.
again,
That's another one
yeah,
that's got to be looked in. Central Park Five is wild. That's a
yeah.
but
But again, he didn't prosecute him or anything like that. But
right.
it goes hand in hand with that, where people start, you did this, it was you, you're the reason why they were going to get the death
Yeah,
penalty.
no,
Just as the same way as people are saying, well, you're the reason why the kids are dying. No, we have real issues, and everybody's going to have knee jerk reactions when it comes to certain things, and especially when it involves women and kids.
yeah,
Everybody's going to have that. So the best thing to do is let those knee jerk reactions pass, and then, like I said, start from we all
yeah. Let's have
agree
a
on
conversation.
that this is
Yeah,
yeah that this is bad, and now let's go from there and figure out how we stop the bad thing. Um,
yeah.
Not take away
No,
the
I agree.
things that are maybe the instruments of the bad thing, but how do we just stop the bad thing in general? Um, and again, it's a broad conversation that has many us, and we can go round and round in circles. Um, but it's until people stop doing that, stop starting from the battleground position, and start finding that just the small commonality that we all agree on, that everybody says, okay, yeah, everybody agrees this is 100% go from here. It's all just going to be more of the same. We'll
Yeah,
get this again. This will be talked about till the next one happens or the next incident or whatever the case may be. And it's happening. It's just funny how this happens when the elections happen. You know what I mean? So now we
yeah.
had our school shooting for the
Always,
Democrats to get
always.
on. I'm sure we're going somewhere who does something so that the Republicans stand and say, see, we told you, about that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It always happens like this. Yeah, I think it's just going to be
It
interesting to
is.
see what happens
It is.
next. But with that, anything else before we close up here?
No. Again, I love doing these. This has been great. I wasn't too much or too anything too crazy to talk about here. I think
We
we
still
had
got 2.5 hours in. I mean, shit.
yeah, well, yeah, we got two and yeah, we just gab away with these things. But no, I'm really looking forward to the debate because again, I think we
Yes.
both are just where this goes, and I think that's going to be the turning point, especially because this is an election that's looks like it's just coming down to all the battleground states.
Yeah.
And who can win over the most votes there. Um,
Yeah. That's going to
and
be
both
interesting
can
too. We'll see what
and
the.
it looks pretty close. And that's what a lot of these Pennsylvania, Michigan, a lot of these states I think are waiting for that debate to see. Because everybody talks the good game when they come to the rallies. You get your home crowd there. Everybody's
Yep.
behind you. that's all fun and games, and it's great. It looks good. It all looks good on. But now it's not taped. Hopefully these aren't going to be softball questions for either one. I hope this isn't.
Right.
I also hope this isn't an hour of just, you know, well, Kamala, you changed your accent, and Trump, you got into a fight
Yeah.
at Arlington. I don't want
Insults.
to hear
Yeah.
about that. I want it to be, yeah, I want it to be his policies. This is what I'm proposing. This is what I'm going to do against her policies. This is what I'm proposing counter to him, and contrary to what he says I think is a better idea or whatnot. Um, Again, if it's just more of the same, I'm going to say that ship over there and on the Democrats, that people will have a right to panic at that point because you
Yeah.
only have yourself to blame at that point.
Yeah. We'll see. It'll be very interesting. But speaking of that, next Tuesday night, the debate, we will be live for our very first live episode of the show, doing
Absolutely.
a live commentary on what is happening, and I'm sure breakdown discussion afterwards. But yeah, so join us
Yes.
next Tuesday at the debate time. We'll probably start like about 5 or 10 minutes before, just to make sure we're all set up and get everybody on and stuff. And should be a good time
Absolutely.
to
Yes.
uncover it live.
Yeah. Watch
But
me lose my shit in real time if this goes the same way it's been going for the Democrats over there.
yeah, same, the same. It'll be good. But with that, everybody, thank you again so much for tuning in into another episode. Where,
Yes.
like we
Thank
said,
you,
we'll
everybody.
obviously be back next week with the live episode. If you're liking this, if you're enjoying our conversations, our weekly talks, and all that, make sure and give us a like and a share and subscribe to the channel for more fun stuff like this in the future. So we come down to the final election in November here. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed this as always. I love talking to you and disagreeing with you and still being able to have a good time doing it. And
Yeah, absolutely, man. The
it's good,
same.
man. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and it seems like we're getting people who are watching and enjoying it as well. So again, that's awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody who sits through these 2 3 hour discussions and listens to just two guys just talk about what they feel and what they believe and go
Yeah,
from there, man. I hope also hopefully everybody's registered to vote because everybody should go out and vote no matter what side you're voting for. Get out there and vote.
absolutely.
And yeah, man, look forward to more of these. And yeah, look forward to seeing you again next week for the debate. And that'll be fun. That'll be real
Live. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna be all dressed up in a suit. I may even
fun.
go get a Trump wig. I may go get a
Oh.
Trump wig. I am seriously debating it. I might go get a Trump
Oh my
wig.
God.
I might shave my face. It'll be a whole thing. It'll be a whole
You know,
thing.
I don't tell him I said this. Hopefully he doesn't make much till the end. But don't tell Bradley I said this. But actually, he would. You should have him dress up and come on because you know, for somebody who hates Trump so much like he does. I don't understand why he went to the barber and said, "Give me the Trump," because he's got the. I don't know. Sometimes he gets on camera when we're in Discord and that, and he'll do the thing where he flips his hair, and then when he does it, it goes right into that front part of like how Trump has it, like just the big front comb over where it's straight. But he does. Don't tell him I said this, but he does.
We know we're
He'll
still
probably shave
recording.
his head if he realizes. Oh yeah, I know we're recording. I'm just banking on the fact that he doesn't make it 2.5 hours. That's all.
He doesn't make it to the end. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
He said, "Give
Oh
me
my
the Donnie
gosh.
T."
He went in there. He was like showing him a picture. He's like, "Hey, this is what I want." Um, well, let me tell you, it's the best haircut. It's the best
It
haircut.
is.
I highly recommend it. It's a phenomenal haircut. Okay, the best, greatest haircut in the entire world. I commend Bradley. It's a beautiful haircut. Um, but with that, everybody,
Oh God.
again, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching, and keeping up
Yes,
with
thank
us.
you.
We will see you guys next Tuesday live for our first live episode We'll make a big fun fuss about it, and it's going to be a good time. So make sure and join us. We want to hear your comments. We'll debate with you guys in the chat, and
Absolutely.
yeah, it'll be a good time. So again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure and come by next week. Check out the channel for more. And with that, we'll talk to you guys all later. Peace.
You call that human rights, China? I call it human wrongs.
What can I say?